Thank you for Okay, thanks for unmuting me, John. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Community Board 8 Street Life meeting. First, when we're considering things today, I plan to go to members of the public for any comments or questions on these applications, and then to fellow board members. Any action that's taken at this committee will go to a full board vote on March 19th. I'd like you to please address any comments to myself so we avoid crosstalk between applicants and people who have responses to them. I'd also please like to remind us all to observe the norms of decorum because we're all here to get a communal outcome. Let's please try to be succinct tonight and keep our comments to the merit of these individual applications. I want to say that in this meeting, we have 30 pieces of business to consider. This is a lot, and in the time that I have been chairing this committee, I've been heartened to see how succinct we've been able to keep our meetings. To that end, I have different requests for members of the public, for board members, and for applicants for this meeting tonight. For members of the public, we are happy to hear your comments. Please keep them brief and relevant to the applications at hand. For the board members, I want to ask you to please follow along with the packets that have been provided with information to you right now so that you're not having to ask all the applicants, but instead you should be looking at the diagrams as we're going over things. I also would like to ask you to please be ready to make motions to approve or disapprove, as well as motions in calling the question. To applicants, when you are coming before us tonight, please tell us your location, your hours of operations, if it's the first time that you're going to have a sidewalk or roadway cafe, any changes that you had from the last time that you had a sidewalk or roadway cafe, any complaints that your business has faced when you had a roadway or sidewalk cafe, what you've done to address these complaints, and importantly, for all applicants, this meeting will go much faster if you say the words, "We will comply with all of the rules and regulations from the New York City Department of Transportation" when you're doing your presentation. I also want to remind you to please take down all of the postings that you put up in your area before in order to have this meeting when this meeting is over. Now I'll turn things over to John to give us the rules of the road.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. If this is your first time attending attending us virtually, you will notice that you're all currently muted and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except for the committee co-chairs and any presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, as we move through the agenda, the co-chair will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can speak by going to the react icon on your device and pressing the raised hand button, not the wave or thumbs up button, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it twice, a second time, the hand will go back down. If you are calling your phone, press *+9 or raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is available with technical support only to help the Zoom software problems, not to ask questions to the co-chairs. They will not see the chat. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you will go to the participants section where you will find the raised hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not see you. Chat with me with any technical support.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and get started. Do we have a representative from 945 Madison Restaurant Venture? I see Donald Bernstein. John, can you unmute him?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Great, thanks, Lindsay. You're ready for me to go?
let's do it.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, hi, everyone. Good evening. Donald Bernstein. I'm here with my clients, and I'm here representing 945 Madison Restaurant Venture LLC, which will be applying for a new on-premises liquor license at 945 Madison, which is at the corner of 75th Street. The entity that's applying for the license is a joint venture between Sotheby's and the owners of Roman and Williams Guild. This building, I'm sure you're all familiar with. This was the Whitney Museum for about 50 years. In 2016, it became the Net Brewer, which occupied the space until 2020. I think the year after that, it was the temporary home of the Frick Collection, and it was just acquired recently by Sotheby's, which is a partner in this venture and is making it its headquarters. So rather than just having an applicant who's going to have a 5 or 10-year lease, you have an applicant that has got a substantial interest owned by Sotheby's, which is making a substantial commitment, financial and otherwise, to this community, and is developing and assisting in the developing of this new restaurant in this building that they own. The space has had a restaurant for many decades. Some of you may know much better than I because you've been living in the community, but I believe since the 1980s, there's been a restaurant there. There was the Garden Restaurant. I believe Sarah Beth's was there for about 20 years on the cellar space. Danny Meyer had a pop-up there in 2010. And the most recent iteration was Flora Bar, which closed a few years ago. As I said, Roman and Williams is partnering with Sotheby's. The owners, Robin and Stephen of Roman and Williams Guild, are with us here tonight. It is an award-winning design firm that has designed, in addition to many other things, numerous very high-quality, elegant restaurants in New York and elsewhere. And they are also the owners of La Mercerie, which is a restaurant at 53 Howard Street that has been operating and licensed for 7 years. So they're very experienced in the hospitality business. This is going to be a fine dining French restaurant. As you know, the main floor is actually in the cellar. It is below grade. That's where the main dining room will be, which will include also a private dining room. There is some outdoor space that is also subgrade. It is within the property line. It is not on the sidewalk, does not require a DOT permit, and that is an extension of the restaurant. It will be operated, the outdoor space will be operated as an extension of the restaurant, principally along Madison. My clients are very well aware of the residential character of this neighborhood, just as they are down on 53 Howard Street. And we've submitted a number of letters in support of this application, including some residents who live by La Mercerie on Howard Street and attest to the quality of the operation there. So being well aware of the character of the neighborhood, the intent is to operate this in keeping with that character and in the high quality of what how Sotheby's will operate its headquarters in this building. So it is not late night. The restaurant will be open from 8 a.m. until midnight, Sunday through Wednesday, until 1 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The outdoor space will close by 10 p.m. There will be no patrons there after 10 p.m. We do want the opportunity to remain open until 2 a.m. only for private events. And there is no intent to run this as event space. We want to limit the number of private events, and we're only going to have about 6 a year. So maybe 6 times a year, the space will be open until 2 a.m. The intent really is to keep this open for the residents of the Upper East Side, for all of the city, and we don't want people coming in and finding out it's closed for a private event. So there's really going to be an intentional restriction of how often that will occur. The music will be background recorded music. During the 6 times that there's a private event, there may be a DJ, maybe live music, but not when it is open day to day, and there will be no music outdoors. We have done significant outreach. We've contacted the local bid. I've identified, I think, 2 block associations nearby, not on 74th or 75th, but nearby. We notified them. The letter that we attached to our questionnaire, the notice to residents describing what we're doing, you have that in your package. We've left that at 26 buildings in the area on 75th Street, 74th Street, Park Avenue, and I think 2 on 5th Avenue. We encouraged them to contact me if they had any questions. I was contacted by one person. My client was in touch with them and they seemed satisfied. Their concerns seem to have been addressed. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, let us know. My clients are really looking forward to bringing this operation here, and we look forward to your support. I'll say the magic words that will comply with DOT, but we don't have any DOT seating.
All right.
We
Thank
submitted
you.
the affidavits that the office required regarding deliveries. We're also not going to have deliveries, but we signed and provided that affidavit to you in case that ever changes.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public that have questions or comments for this applicant? Seeing none, are there any members of the board? Marco? Oh, I'm sorry,
Thank you
Marco.
so much. I think you can give it to Jane, please. Thank you. I can
Yes,
wait.
Jane was off my screen. Let's do Jane first.
Oh, hi. I rarely attend these meetings of Street Life, but so many interesting applications tonight. How long is the lease for?
Sotheby's owns the building.
I know Sotheby's owns the building, but how long is your client's lease for?
Offhand, I don't know.
You don't know?
Answer that.
To
I
me,
don't-
that's like one of the most important things. And I don't like the 2 a.m. event. That's awfully late for private clients. And the midnight, or 1 a.m., that's for every night of the week, did you say?
No, 1 a.m. is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have last seating will be at 11 p.m. on weekends. So this is fine dining. If someone makes a reservation at that last hour at 11 p.m., we never want to be in a position where we have to tell them you have to leave. We want to give them ample opportunity to finish. So for those people that come in at 11, by having a 1 a.m. close, we know that we don't have to rush them, that they can enjoy the meal. There's no expectation that this restaurant is going to be full to capacity at 1 a.m. We want them to do well. We want them to be busy, but there's an ebb and flow in restaurants. So if it's open till 1 a.m., there may be some people that are leaving, but the restaurant is not emptying out at that hour.
Well, I really can't support the application until I know how long the lease is for. Thank you.
By the way, these hours are not inconsistent with others such as Casa Tua and the Surrey Hotel that actually they have 4 a.m. for some of their spaces, which is not something we're interested in.
All right, let's go to, I see a member of the public, Ames Brown. Let's recognize that person first, and then we'll go to Marco.
And the lease, by the way, is 10 years.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ames Brown. I have no affiliation with this applicant other than to think they're a low-risk applicant because they have a really strong brand. And if anything didn't go well with this venture in terms of the community, it would be a tremendous damage to them. I am hugely in favor. I've lived here on the Upper East Side since 1991 of the 2 a.m. potential termination because it's a really, the community really degrades the later you go. You've got, frankly, people wandering around with fentanyl, empty streets at this time. I would love it if a reliable establishment like this would employ responsible people in a business venture that was staying open a little later. I think we need a little bit more of restaurant culture lasting a little later and not so much just empty streets. I'd feel a lot safer, with young children and so on. So I'm glad you brought up the late hours. I'm sure it was a requirement, but I'm totally in favor of that with an application like this. So thanks for taking my comment.
Thank you for making it. Let's recognize Marco.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay. You said, I had to address to you. He said that he's going to have the operation of the cellar. And the cellar, I'm seeing the CO, 244 people. Are you planning to do the whole building, the activities, or just only on the cellar?
It is going to be in the cellar, and there's going to be a very small private dining room in the sub-cellar.
Okay, you have 60 people over there, 240, approximately 300 people. That's approximately what you're asking.
That's the legal, I'm sorry, I didn't
yes.
interrupt you. That's
Yeah,
the
that's-
legal occupancy. I don't think there's an intention to have any more than 250 people maximum occupancy in the space.
Now, do you have the certificate of operation?
certificate of operation, you mean certificate of occupancy?
No, certificate of operation that's allow you to operate.
It's not, I don't think it's built out.
Well, you can operate without that document. You need this document in order to operate properly.
Whatever certificates and permits, I'm not familiar with a certificate of operation. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what it is after the 75 people, you require to have a certificate of operation.
You talking about a PA permit?
Yeah, public assembly,
Yeah,
either
public
one,
assembly. Yeah,
yeah, both.
whatever's required. Yeah, they're gonna have to file for that.
But so you don't have it.
I'm not aware of having the PA permit at this point. The space is being built out and the permits are all being applied for.
Okay, so the issue is very hard. I mean, I know you has been for all the projects. I know you very well. But what I'm trying to see is this project was landmark outside and also has an application of the landmark interior landmark. I don't know what is the status, but in that part, the community came and discussed the activities, exactly the impact of the liquor license on that venue. So the community was very concerned about that part. So this is what I raised this issue, the legality of the number of people that can operate. You can operate as much as you want as you have the certificate of operation. Now, the issue is you say that probably 6 days you may stay longer, and the concern is again the impact within the community. Because in landmark we are unable to make these comments, but now we have to make a comments at this level. And I feel completely, look, if you don't have the certificate of operation, it will be very hard for me to support this application. It's like you saying we're going to operate unlawfully. I'm
You
sorry.
know, it takes
It
takes
takes long, by the way. It's not very simple application. It will
it
take
takes a
long
long
time.
time to get a liquor license approved.
Yeah,
So
both.
if if you're talking about a PA permit, because I don't know what a certificate of operation is, but if you're
It's
talking
the
about
same. It's the same.
okay, so that will all be filed with the DOB filing. This is all in process. At these permits, whether it's a liquor license, a PA permit, whatever it is, are applied for simultaneously. It's not as if you apply for one, then you finish that, and then you apply for the other, and you apply for another. If you do that, it's going to take 2 years for a restaurant to open. We can't
Right.
do that. I mean, they've already filed plans for the PA permit. They've already filed plans with DOB. So that's going to go through the approval process. The liquor license will go through the approval process, and everything will come together at the end. And we presume that everything's going to be approved. So this is not unusual. When a restaurant is built out, there are some buildings that may have to apply for amended C of Os. I mean, this is all done at the same time so that when they're ready to open, they have the permits. And that's the expectation and intent here.
You can start doing your operation without the license, the liquor license. You can do that, but you cannot assume that it will be approved, the certificate of operations. It's very hard to obtain that because there are a lot of regulations that is in place. And I don't want to make any judgment in that direction because that will be completely unfair to you. So therefore, myself, personally, I'm sorry, but I had to say no to this application because you don't have the legal document to proceed.
It's,
Okay,
Thank you.
so
Yeah,
I think to go ahead and move this along, I think when we're making our resolution, it might be incumbent upon someone on the board to make a resolution of a conditional approval, provided that certificate of occupation, which I believe is actually called a place of assembly certificate of operation. We can say that as our stipulation, that provided that that sort of thing is obtained, which it sounds like Mr. Bernstein is admitting that they'll do. Let's recognize Brian Christ.
Hello. I will make that motion and conditionally approve. And if I could speak to it as well.
Sounds good. It's seconded by me.
Thank you. Yeah, I think especially given that this was a museum venue, the likelihood of it getting its public assembly permit issued relatively promptly. I say relative, having worked in government long enough. But this is a space that has had it previously. I don't think this would be unexpected.
John, let's go ahead and cut Brian Christ's audio because I'm having a hard time hearing it. It's like a little bit jumpy. He has a motion to approve. He's spoken to it. I've seconded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, John, cut his audio.
I think we should presume that this is probably going to be granted as it has been in the past and move forward.
Mr. Bernstein, though, before we move forward, would that be something, that sort of stipulation be something that you guys would agree to that says we will make sure that we have this in place prior to?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm just waiting for my client to confirm that. Yeah, I mean, it's applied for, it has been licensed before, so I assume there's not going to be a problem with the PA permit. I mean, the State Liquor Authority has done away with the requirement to provide certificates of occupancy or those sorts of things. But yeah, I think that's not a problem. We can agree to that.
Okay, let's recognize Susan Kropf, a member from the public.
Hi, I live across the street from the proposed site, and I just have a simple question, and that is it expected that the music for these live events and any other music for that matter will be audible outside of the location itself, such as to the apartments across the street?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. The clear intention is that it not be audible. Day to day, the music will be background recorded music. The space, again, is subgrade. It's in its interior. There will be no music played in the outdoor courtyard. So the expectation is that you will not hear any music whatsoever. If there is any live music or DJ during the 6 times a year that there is a private event, my client will work with an acoustic engineer to make sure that there is a limiter put on the sound system so that at all times it's within legal limits, which requires it, when it gets into your unit, to be below the ambient sound of the neighborhood. So we have discussed that. They're very aware of concerns, legitimate concerns, that you don't want to be hearing that, and they will do what they have to do to make sure that you do not.
Thank you.
All right, let's recognize Marco.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be very quick. I just checked in the EOB if you file an application for public assembly and you don't have none. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bernstein, before we move forward on the vote, is that something that a stipulation that says prior to operation, you all will obtain an assembly certificate of operation?
I think a place of assembly permit, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what a certificate of operation is, but if we call it a place of assembly permit, I'm okay with that.
I think in the New York City code, as I see it, it's a place of assembly certificate of operation, just a PA. Yeah, which is that 75 plus.
We call it a PA. We refer
Okay,
to it as a PA.
very fine. So I think we're talking about the same thing. Good.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion. Would anyone from the board like to call the question on this motion? Robin, and then it looks like Bill might be seconding it. Okay. So as it stands, the motion is to have a condition, an approval with the stipulation that this PA will be obtained prior to operation. If there's anyone who's going to vote no or abstain, please let me know. Marco?
Thank you. No.
Okay. So this is going to go down as a 9-1 approval. John, you can check my count on that. I also have Todd Stein, who I believe is on this call in a... Yeah, I see. Okay, great. We've got him now. So I have a 9-1. Does that count look like what you have, John?
Yes, 9 for 1. Yep.
Yep. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Bernstein.
Thank you very much, and thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Now I want to remind everyone, if this is the speed that we keep this at, we're going to be on this call for 10 hours. So let's do what we can do. Is there a representative from Gnocchi House here? Michael Kelly, maybe you're already queued up and ready to go.
Trying to move it along quickly.
Let's do it.
Okay, Michael Kelly representing the applicant. This is an on-premise liquor license transfer application for Gnocchi House, New York, Inc., DBA Gnocchi Bar, located at 1431 First Avenue between 74th and East 75th. The applicant is buying the assets of 1431 First Avenue Corp., doing business as Numero 28. They were open and operating with an on-premise liquor license for over 13 years. We'll be serving the same menu and adding to it as we progress: Italian food and specialty pizza. We'll have the same seating plan 23 tables with 62 seats and a 6-seat bar. Hours of operation will be midnight to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. Background music. There will be third-party deliveries. We're assuming the food and drink ratio will stay the same, 85% to 15%. The applicant is keeping the entire current staff and management and will be an on-site owner-operator while he learns the ropes. The manager has been informing clients of the change, and most of them live nearby. And we will be applying for a sidewalk cafe in the future, and we will comply with all the rules and regulations from the DOT. We will be back before you before that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who has comments or questions for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Marco.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion, and the motion is approved as presented.
I will second that. Robin, are you calling the question? Looks like it. I will second that as well. If there is anyone who is going to vote no or abstain on this applicant, please let me know. Otherwise, this will go down as a 10-0 approval. Thank you very much. All right. It's not going to be a 10-hour meeting. This is great.
Sorry, Lindsay. I was counting Brian in the vote. Brian's not here, I believe. I don't
Oh,
see.
Brian Christ is not here. I
So
see Brian.
it's okay. I don't know. Okay, then never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you, though. That's the sort of stuff that I will need help with. Let's now go to Suki Dezu, in between 217. Oh, hi.
I'm back again.
Tell us what you know.
Okay, so this is a restaurant one application for Sushi Desu Inc., located at 217 East 85th between 2nd and 3rd Avenues. Will be a small sushi restaurant with a bar sushi counter consisting of 11 seats. Hours of operation 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. Low background music. There are no deliveries. The owner currently operates 3 other locations. He won't be there all the time, but he will have a manager, but he will be periodically coming by. There'll be no outdoor seating. That's it.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who has a comment or question for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Marco.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion and then to speak. The motion will be approved as presented.
Go ahead, I second it. Let's speak.
Okay, so I think this is completely, their business is basically wine, beer, and spirits, so it's no hard liquor. And usually these places are completely, they address just only food. And that's what I would like to support this application right away. Thank you.
All right. I'll go ahead and call the question on that if anyone will second it.
Second.
I see that. John, the question that I had for you, I guess the question that we might have been talking about is we can't see Brian Christ on camera. Is that what you were saying? Okay, so let's go ahead and go. Yeah, thank you. So Brian, if you want to participate in these votes, you're going to have to be on camera. So the other one that we just had is going to be amended as a 9-0. And then if there's anyone on this one who would like to vote against, there we go, vote against or abstain, please let me know. Otherwise, this will go down as a 10-0. All right, sounds good. This is a 10-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, let's see if we have the applicant for 3 and 73 Gourmet LLC doing business as Dallas Barbecue. John, let me know if you know who this applicant is and if you can see them in the room. Okay, given that we can't quite identify this person, let's go ahead and be willing to come back to them. But in the desire of moving this along, let's go to the Global Corporation doing business as the Sanctuary. If we have a representative from that business, please let us know.
Lindsay, sorry. I see. I believe it's Barry. Just want to make sure he's there. Sorry. All right.
Are we going to unmute Frank? Do we feel like Frank is the person to unmute?
I'm unmuted now. Here we go.
Great. Frank, which applicant are you?
The Sanctuary Roosevelt Island, the Glow Group. How are you?
Okay, that's right. So then we're into this waiver. Thank you. Let's do
Yep.
this, and then we'll come back if you
Sure.
find the other one, John.
Great. Thank you so much for hosting and being helpful with this process. Greatly appreciated. As you may know, we have a restaurant and event space on Roosevelt Island called the Sanctuary. We've been open now for about 5 years. It's been a great pleasure to be there in Roosevelt Island. We are very well received. We love the community. We do a lot of community events. It's a very special place. If you haven't been there, we'd love to host you at some point. And it's been an honor to take over this incredible building. And thank you for giving us a latitude with the 30-day waiver. It was very helpful in keeping our business operating when we had the trouble right there. So super appreciated that CB8 came through for us.
All right. Are there any members from the public that have comments or questions for this applicant on the 30-day waiver? Seeing none, let's go to Marco.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion, and the motion is to approve as presented.
Great. Anyone will second it? I see that. I'm going to go ahead and call the question. Someone will second that. Okay. Is there anyone who's going to vote no or abstain on this application? Great. Seeing none, this is going to go down as a 10-0. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, everyone. See you on Roosevelt Island. Have a beautiful night. God bless.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So let's go ahead and go back. Do we have someone from 3 and 73 Gourmet LLC? All right. Let's go ahead and keep this moving. And instead, we will now shift to the applications for the Department of Transportation for a sidewalk cafe. And at the time in which we find this person, yeah.
We do have them, yes.
Okay, let's do that then.
One person. That's not it. That's not it. It's Elaine.
This is Barry. Is that right, Barry P. Fox? I can't hear the audio on.
Yeah, I can't see him either on my end. I don't know what's going.
I can see him, but I cannot hear him. It does look as though he's unmuted. Barry, I'm going to ask you and John to sort of figure this out on the back end, and we're going to come back. As soon as you get audio going, we'll come and do that. Until then, let's go ahead and move on to the first application for the Sidewalk Cafe, which is Stratos Bakery Bocado. Is there someone here representing that business? If you are representing that business, please let it be known by like raising the hand icon so we can easily see you. Until we identify that person, is there someone from Via Quadrano? Okay, I see Kevin McGrath. Let's go ahead and unmute Kevin and see if we can sort which applicant this is. Hi,
Good
Kevin,
evening,
you're unmuted.
Kevin McGrath. Okay, I represent Via Cadrono. We have made an application and have had it approved by the City of New York for an outside cafe. The hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There is no music in the venue. We have posted and sent the postings to the Community Planning Board. We have no complaints. We have sent in an affidavit to comply with all the DOB rules and regulations. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the public with questions or comments for this applicant? Let's recognize Lionel.
Good evening, everyone. I live on 73rd Street and I walk to Central Park with my family on a regular basis. What I've noticed was it's one of the prettiest streets, and especially that part is an incredible street with beautiful architecture. And what I've seen over the years with the Via Quadrano's outdoor seating, it's just not quite the same. They have this shed. It changes the whole allure of the street. It gets extremely busy. So, you can't cross with a stroller. People are trying to get through that part. I would think it's not ideal for this location to have the outdoor shed. I think it's unsightly, and I think the passageway is too narrow based on previous experience. It gets extremely busy, especially in the summer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's recognize Locke Potter.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of my family. We live right next door to Via Quadrona. We would echo much of what Lionel said. We also think it's simply not true. There have been no complaints. We have complained to the owners of Via Quadrona innumerable times about their outdoor dining cafe setup, and we just haven't gotten results on it. We've actually gone to the effort of preparing a short presentation to step through those issues. My family asked me, rather than have each of us speak in turn about the problems we're having, they elected me to be the one to sort of try to be concise for you all, because I know you got about 24 of these to get through. But the presentation is very helpful. It's concise. It shows how their application is wrong on its face, how they lack the regulatory required clearances to operate this. And it even contains a short video to show what Lionel's referring to, just the dense crowding outside, which is also against the regulations. Could I be allowed to show that briefly?
Let's provide you with 3 minutes to do this. Is that going to be sufficient?
I doubt it. I don't think it's due process either, just given, how much we've suffered in 5 years, but I'm happy to do what I can in 3 minutes.
Let's give it a go. Let's get started then. John, you're going to probably have to let him share his screen. That might be a setting that you're going to have to change.
And I'm going to start talking while John's doing that so that the time's not yet ticking. And I just want to flag, we live at 2070 73rd. We share a wall with Via Quadrona. We've been there 4 generations. The application is just defective on its face. This is not Madison Avenue. As Lionel said, it's a largely residential block. This is the only restaurant on 73rd Street from Central Park to Lex. We've tried to work with them. We've gotten nowhere. I'd like to show some of the problems with their site plan. Am I able to share now? Yeah, I am. Thanks, John. Okay, I'm going to go as fast as I can, folks. So we have constant trash issues, rat issues, impermissible lighting and public trees. Again, they lack the clearances. I'm going to use my 3 minutes to focus on that. So I think the visual aid really helps drive the point home. Constant congestion. Strollers can't get through. Wheelchairs can't get through. And it's not just something where they can say they're going to comply with the rules. They can't. They lack the proper clearances to do it. There's just not enough space. This is the site plan. The regulations require that they submit an accurate site plan. This site plan is not accurate. It says here on the upper left that to their left is Madison Avenue. It's not. That's our home. And that's not on the corner. We're not on the corner either. There are 2 additional residences before you get to Madison Ave. The second circle here, they say they have 187 inches between the edge of their proposed sidewalk cafe and the curb. That's 15 feet 7 inches. Again, from the edge of their proposed cafe to the curb. It's false. We've measured it repeatedly. It's 14 feet 8 inches from the front of their restaurant to the curb. Finally, the length measurements are wrong too. They say they have near 15 feet. I'm going to show you some photos. It's clear that's wrong. They've got 6 feet 4 inches. This is an accurate diagram. I invite you guys to look at it later. In the interest of time, I'll skip it now. This is what they need. This is from the city's website. They're limited to a sidewalk cafe and a roadway cafe that can extend no further than the restaurant frontage. Their proposal tries to do both. It can't. It's against the law. The law also requires that they have a clear path and a furnishing zone. What's a furnishing zone? Well, it's complicated, but it's not that complicated. It includes a tree pit. Even they acknowledge there's a tree pit right in front of their door. So I've excerpted once again their terrible site plan. And that tree pit, by their own admission, has 4 feet of width. How about a clear path? The rules require 8 feet of clear path here. It's a regulatory requirement. It's the smallest permissible. Like they're dealing with, this is a narrow residential avenue. So again, 8 feet clear path, 4 feet furnishing zone. Total sum here was 14 feet 7 inches. It leaves them with 2 feet 7 inches width for a sidewalk cafe. And you know, their own proposal says that they need 5 feet, 60 inches. But that's nonsense because their sidewalk cafe currently in the last 5 years, it has never had the regulatory required perimeter on it. And they have never served their patrons from within that perimeter. Both of those are requirements under the regs too. I've excerpted them here so you can see. I'm going to keep moving in the interest of time. By our count, and we tried to be conservative because we think these issues are really black and white, they need a width of near 76 inches here. They've got 31 inches. Again, by their own admission, they need at least 60. This is what we deal with. This is a picture last week. Here's the folks who's sitting at this proposed sidewalk cafe. It's exactly how they're proposing to do it. Look, it doesn't have the required demarcating perimeter on it. There's no, staff just operates from the sidewalk. This, folks, this is not 8 feet, and it would be a lot less than 8 feet if they did have that perimeter and they were using wait staff there. This picture on the right, there's the entrance to our home. We're right next door to this. Every day, all year long, we come out our door to this kind of congestion. It's against the law. Setting requirements. Again, they're limited to the restaurant frontage. That's the length that they're allowed for a sidewalk cafe. Their proposal, yes, ma'am.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you, and I'm going to ask that you please send this to the board. Do you have the email for that?
I did.
Okay.
I sent it last night, and I swapped emails today with John.
Okay,
I
good.
asked him to exchange it with you all. He did not confirm that that would occur. I asked again nicely. We feel strongly about this. I know you guys have a ton of work, but I did send it in. If I could just have 2 more minutes to push through some of the other problems here.
I think what you've done is actually probably compelling enough, and I will encourage you to, now that we have it, we can have it at the full board meeting. And I'm actually incredibly impressed with your operation here, and I think this is exactly what we are supposed to do at the community board. You've gone out and done this work. I want to ask if there is a response from Mr. McGrath to any of these.
Right. I have not seen the presentation, which is appears to be a complete presentation. So I would appreciate the community planning board, and I will speak to community planning board tomorrow to make sure I get a copy of this so that I can at least answer it, because I'm not in a position to answer it now. So what I would like to do is I would like to withdraw the application here until we can deal with the objections, which I'm not able to because I have not seen any of them.
Okay, thank you. I imagine that Mr. Locke, that should be a sufficient remedy for now because it says that we're not going to move forward with this, the application withdrawn. And I imagine
Actually, I have one question, ma'am.
Yeah.
You know, I've had to watch these agendas for 6 months to be here tonight. What happens now when DOT, they've botched to this process? I know you all haven't, but they're going to extend further licensing so that people can, you know, continue to operate when spring rolls around. So that's the wrong result here. And I think Mr. McGrath, you know, that would be a good result for him and his client, and an unfair and illegal result in our view. And we've been unable to get any justice on this. I don't think just kicking the can on this is fair.
Well, so the options that we have here tonight are, once the applicant withdraws, we're not going to pass a resolution that says we're approving or disapproving because there's not going to be any business before us. But my best guess is that after you all have some time to talk about these things, this application will come back up maybe in the next meeting or in the May meeting. That's my best guess as to how this proceeds, but there's not going to be anything for us to take action on tonight with a withdrawn application.
So no board member is able to make a motion on their own to say that when this comes back up, it's simply not going to work in this space.
When it
given the
comes back
evidence
up, I
presented?
imagine, yeah, when it comes back up, I imagine you'll be back. And I imagine that that would be a time in which these things have not been addressed or remedied. We then do have a motion to disapprove or approve with some conditions. But with the withdrawn application here, there's not anything for us to make a motion on.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. This is exactly what this is meant to do. And this is like excellent citizenry that you're showing by doing all that work and doing it here. I really applaud your efforts, and I'm so glad that you brought it to us because I otherwise would not have known about it. And now the board has it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to, John, do you have any of the early applicants that we skipped over? Yes. Tell me where we're at for that.
We would be at Barry's application for 317th Gourmet LLC, Dallas Barbecue.
Okay, so this is for just the regular old liquor license, yes?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and go back there, and Barry, please let us know a little bit about your business.
Unmuted still.
So Barry, yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you go. Still no. Barry, we still can't hear you.
So Barry, my recommendation might be to have a phone call with you and John and have you call in instead of trying to do the audio piece over the video, because I think that you might get a better chance that it actually works. In the interest, let's go and continue. If we have someone from Stratos Bakery, Bocado Cafe, we skipped over this applicant earlier because there wasn't a representative here, but if they're here, please let us know. Otherwise, the next one that we're going to move on to is 1616 Second Avenue, Dorian's Red Hand. If we have someone representing.
Sorry, it should be Kathleen Straposley. I'm not sure if their hand is raised or not, but I see their name.
Okay, so let's go ahead. You said Kathleen. Oh, Stephanopoulos.
Stephanopoulos, yes.
Okay, Kathleen, you're going to get a thing to unmute. Please unmute, and then you can give us the presentation on your business.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks. Okay, so this one is, I have 3 on today. So we're doing Stratus Bakery, correct?
Right.
Okay, yes. Okay, so this Stratus Bakery, this is for a roadway dining. Stratus Bakery has been there for 14 years. They are located at 1207 Lexington Avenue between 87th and 88th Street. It will be 119 square foot roadway diner with 4 tables and 12 seats. Their hours of operation are 8:30 to 11 every day, and the roadway dining would be pretty much the same. Sunday it would be 10 to 11. 80% food, 20% drinks. They do have bike delivery, and they use outside bikes, and that's basically it.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public that has a question or comment for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Marco.
Thank you. Miss Kathleen, are you the attorney of this venue?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
I am.
okay. See, I recognize you.
Yes.
Can you, let me put this question. Are you willing to you apply just only for the roadway cafe, is that correct?
That's correct. They have, just so you know, they do have, Marco, a enclosed sidewalk cafe from the old days.
Well, but in this case, the application is just only for
Just for the roadway, just for the roadway.
Okay, so are you willing to obey
Yes, I am
All the
sorry.
rules and regulation. I had to be
I'm
on record.
sorry, I didn't say it. Yes, I'm willing to obey all the rules and
Okay,
regulations.
thank you. I will support your application. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Sasha, or Sacha, sorry, Sacha.
It's Sasha.
Ah,
So you were right. You were close.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to ask how you mentioned third-party bike deliveries. I think for a lot of people, the bike delivery men are a really big problem. How is that handled by your client here? Because anywhere around 86th Street, 84th, 85th, 86th, 87th, you just see large groups of delivery men loitering. If you needed to use the sidewalk, coming out of a car, coming out of any kind of transportation, if you have a wheelchair or any kind of mobility device, stroller, it's simply not possible. So I'm curious how that's being dealt with here.
Well, I mean, I should say that most of their deliveries are done by third parties through cars, but they do have some bike deliveries, he told me. Yeah, so most of them are through cars. On occasion, when a bike does come up, they do have ample sidewalk space. The bike is pulled to the side and chained, and then the deliveries are always ready. They come and accept the delivery and go. And they do that from the front. So Stratos is a corner store. The Roadway Cafe is going to be to the back, so on the side street. So they come to the front, they get the bike, they get the delivery, and they leave. But I will say that he says the majority of the delivery is done through cars.
Okay, that's mainly what I wanted to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then before recognizing Jane, I did want to note that in your hours of operation for outdoor dining, it says that you're applying to 11 p.m. And our norm has been 10 p.m. Is there a stipulation that you'd?
Yes, that's fine. I was just putting whatever the DOT standards were, but whatever the community board wants to do for that, that's no problem.
Okay, so a 10 p.m. stipulation for outdoor dining is agreeable to you. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
and
recognized.
that's every day, correct? That's every day, 7 days?
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay.
John, will you please unmute Jane?
Thank you, Lindsay. I just want a clarification. These roadbed cafes, they're out in the street, am I correct?
Yes.
The reason I came to this meeting tonight is I'm opposed to any of them. I've loved seeing them disappear. So I just want you to know I'll be voting against them. Thank you.
All right. Noted. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion on this application? I will make a motion to approve this application as presented. If someone would second it, we can move forward with calling the question. Okay, it looks like Brian's going to second it. Would anyone be willing to call the question? It looks like Bill would call the question, and I'll second that. So this is a motion to approve the Stratos Bakery Roadway Cafe. If you are going to vote no or abstain for any reason, please let me know. Jane, I know that you're going to be voting no. Sasha, are you voting no as well? Okay, great. Is there anyone else who's going to be not voting yes? Okay, so this is going to go down as an H2 of an approval with Sasha and Jane voting no. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and go back to Barry and see if we can finally get this liquor license bit in the audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Barry. Hooray.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I never had a baby, but this is probably like having a baby. I don't know.
It's different, but yeah.
It's maybe not as bad. I doubt it, right? So this is an application which I don't believe it was in any of the documents, but basically it's just a restructuring. The people that have been running this restaurant, the family that's been running this restaurant to 3 generations for the past 30 or 35 years is going to continue to run it. There's no change in that at all. It's basically a restructuring for accounting or tax purposes. Everything is going to remain the same. The number of tables, the number of seats, the hours, everything is staying the same. And I don't know if anyone is familiar with the restaurant or not, but it's been there since 89 or 90. It's been, their liquor license has been renewed every 2 years, or it used to be every 3 years, a long time ago. And I can only tell you that the restaurant is going to continue to be operated by the same people, the grandfather, the father, and the son, and it's not going to change. If you wanted, I could get involved with the number of seats and tables, the hours. Nothing is changing. It's going to close at 11:30 every night except on Friday and Saturday, and then it will be at 12 o'clock. I'm at 11. It'll close at 11 on those days and 12 on Friday and Saturday. There is no live music. It's recorded music. There's a small bar of 10 seats. It's not a bar scene. It's a restaurant. And, it doesn't have parties other than people coming in, who want to be together, but it doesn't close for private events. There's no promoter. It's just going to continue.
Okay. Thank you
and
very
I don't know that I can really say more than that.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who has questions or comments for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Marco. Oh, wait, there is someone who's maybe waving, iPhone 76 Greg. I can't tell if that's the person who wants to make a comment or question.
Hi. Hi, good evening. Yes, I'm Greg Wettinson. I'm just a member of the family that's owned and operated the restaurant there since 1990. And I will continue to operate in the same fashion as Barry Fox is represented. And I try to value myself as a member of the community. I've grown up in that same neighborhood around the corner. My mother lives around the corner, and we highly respect the neighborhood and our neighbors.
Thank you very much for that additional piece. Is there anyone from the public that has comments or questions for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Marco.
Thank you, Lindsay. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented.
Thank you. I'll second that and call the question. All right. I also want to note that we are now down to fewer members who are here with us right now. Robin is away. Elizabeth Ashby has dropped off. So has Evan Meyerson. So if there's anyone who's going to vote no or abstain on this, please let me know. Otherwise, this is going to go down as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0 approval. Sasha, yes.
I just wanted to ask if applicants can repeat like the name of the restaurants and not just the address. While they're doing this, can the name of this location be repeated again?
Yes, this is Dallas Barbecue.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because it gets a bit confusing and I try to look on Google Maps as this is going on.
So I very much appreciate that. If you look at the things that have been sent to us in the second to most recent one, you should see the address and then it'll say doing business as. So DBA is that next thing. And that's
Yeah.
but I agree. Let's like say it up front.
Yeah, it's just easier if it's repeated again. Because we'll say like who the person is and then I don't know who they're representing as easily. Thank you.
Okay. But you are a yes on this. You're not a no on this?
Yeah, for Dallas BBQ, I'm fine with
Wonderful.
this.
And we are at an 8-0 approval for this. Let's keep moving. Let's now go to 1616 Second Avenue. Thank you. Dorian's Red Hand. Michael Kelly.
Okay. This is a roadway cafe application for 1616 Second Avenue Restaurant Inc., doing business as Dorian's Red Hand. It's a full-service restaurant bar. It's been in business over 84 years. The indoor hours are 10:30 a.m. to 4 a.m. The outdoor will close at 10 p.m. There are no deliveries. There are 2 structures on 84th Street, both 40 feet in length, 8 feet in width. We had a 100-foot one up during COVID. The maximum seating would be 36 tables and 72 seats, but we kind of think it's going to be about 25 tables and 50 seats, judging by the 100-foot one we had before. We're 8 feet from the crosswalk. It's non-approaching, so that's what we have to leave. There's 6 feet in between structures. There'll be no sidewalk seating. I'm going to tell you what I tell all my clients. The operation of the roadway cafes are no longer under the COVID rules, where there was little or no enforcement. The city now issues revocable consents. The city can pull your consent if you're a bad actor, and you'll lose your license, and you'll also lose your investment in the structures. I have informed all my clients of this to ensure they will operate properly, and we will comply with all the rules and regulations from the DOT.
Thank you very much. Let's first go to members of the public, and I see ML84. We can recognize them.
Yes, hi. I'm a resident that lives in very close proximity to Dorian's on 84th Street, and I endured the previous shed, and I oppose for the following reasons. The first is the level of noise pollution from their shed was really loud and disruptive. It interrupted my sleep as well as my young children's sleep. The second reason is the footprint of the shed was taking up 86 feet, which was 5 parking spaces, which negatively impacted the pedestrian flow of traffic. Not only did I see people trip and fall on the electrical conduit protectors from the shed, but on many occasions I had to walk with my young children out into the street and around the shed due to there being no sidewalk available from overcrowding. By being forced to walk into the street, I endangered my life as well as the life of my family, which doesn't feel fair. The third reason was the curb condition as it relates to sewer drainage became completely blocked. Every time it snowed or rained, the shed would cause drainage to back up, and there would be pools of dirty, unsanitary water in front of residential homes and my home. In addition, it provided perfect nests for rats to live, as do all of them, causing further unsanitary conditions to thrive. My proposal for this application would be to locate it on 2nd Avenue, which is the correctly scaled size street that can withstand the existence of a shed that size. Taking up that square footage, especially on a small residential street, encourages unsanitary conditions, noise pollution, and interruption of pedestrian flow. I encourage the street life community to please consider the residents and the children in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michael, would you like to respond to this?
The electrical conduits won't be on the sidewalk. If they do have electricity, they're going to be at least a minimum of 7 to 10 feet above the floor. The flooring in the cafes would be removable and would have to be cleaned once every 7 days. Now, the city has a new rule where there has to be a 6-inch gap between the actual structure and the curb. It can be you'll have a piece of metal over it. This way the water would flow freely down the block and into the sewer, no longer pooling, which I'm sure that was happening before, where it happened at many other cafes.
Thank you. Let's recognize Mark Weber.
Yeah, so I would like to formally be in approval of this shed for Dorian's as a resident in the neighborhood. I think it really adds a lot. And as the father of a young child, I would prefer to bring my son to the outdoor area as opposed to the indoor area. And I think it brings a lot of liveliness and a lot of energy to the area. And I'm in full support of Dorian's having this outdoor area.
Thank you very much. Let's head to members of the board with comments or questions. I see ML84 has something else. ML84, I'll come back to you, and then we'll continue with members of the board. So John, can you unmute? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, I wanted to know exactly what they're going to do to mitigate the amount of people, just because that was a huge issue, especially like an example is St. Patrick's Day. I know that it's a popular place for the police to come and celebrate. I'm all for that. But when I can't get to my house, I mean, I don't know. Can you give me some assurance that I'm going to be able to move through the street with freedom and not have to go into the with the cars? I mean, that was a horrible experience.
Michael,
Well,
if you have a response to that.
yes, he's well aware of, the past. St. Patty's Day is going to be, a tough ride, but he usually hires security on St. Patty's Day. We can get him to have security also to make sure people are in the roadway structure. He's well aware of the laws against people drinking on the sidewalk, so anybody sitting outside would be in the structure, and I think the structure would add to less people on the street. block.
No, not in my experience.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to members of the board. Thank you. Marco.
Thank you. I would like to ask a question. Are you going to obey the rules and regulations of DOT? Can you
Yes,
answer
we
the question?
stated that.
Okay, so I'm asking this question, and this is probably I had to address this issue with Mr. Lionel and Potter that they was withdraw the application. I'm doing this question for one reason, because most of the restaurants they don't want to do the job in the way that should be presented. It's very sloppy, it's very confusing and misleading. Most of them, not all of them. So therefore, the only way that I found a solution is to have officially, I think, a writing stipulation, as well as we have in records. So if you have any problems in the future, we can have a chance, a second opportunity to bring this poor management restaurant and then basically go against the license in the way that more or less that this expediter mentioned. And I think that is our goal because it's very hard, it's time consuming if we can go with something that is not reliable. And this is why I think you should be very aware that always I'm fully aware of the conditions that has to be obeyed. At this time, we're doing quick and fast. And thank you so much, and I will support this application.
Thank you. And I believe, Mr. Kelly, you did say that in your presentation, and I'll just take this opportunity to reiterate to everyone else. If you can say that up front, we'll have it in the recording that you said it, and we won't need to belabor it with you further. Sasha.
Hi. So Dorian's has been in operation for like many, many decades. It's a staple in the neighborhood. I'm wondering why there's even a need for 7250 additional seats. I think the fact that there was even 100 feet of additional roadway space during the pandemic is excessive. I feel for the people that live right next door. The actual structure of the restaurant juts out more than the actual building. So there's already a smaller sidewalk. So I'm trying to understand why there's a need for 50 additional, at minimum 50 additional. Your application says 72. Is your client using this as their financial basis, or is this built in their financial model that they have to have this additional space? I think in general, with a lot of roadway cafes, we're getting to the point people are asking for an entirely additional restaurant space at the behest of the public. And I think 5072 is excessive to even consider here. So I'm just curious why, after all these years, is there such a need to continue this? Other than, it financially makes sense. But like, if you've been around, why do you need almost 100 more seats outside now?
Well, we've been operating this for the last 4 years during COVID, and we find that people like to sit outside. Are we going to fill up all the seats during the week? No, that never happened. But during the weekends, we do get a lot more clients, and they do fill it up. We rather have them sitting in there than standing outside waiting to get into the restaurant. So it does alleviate a lot of the people standing on the sidewalk, and it does make it easier for other people to walk by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Robin.
Yeah, Lindsay, thank you. Sasha, I 101% agree with your concern here, and I'm not going to be voting to support this at all. This is way too big. That's a crowded, noisy location. I don't think it's in keeping with our neighborhood, and I will not be supporting this application. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone from the board who'd like to make a motion here? Russell.
Motion to approve.
Great, I'll second that and call the question. If you're going to be voting against this motion, please let me know. Okay, I guess if we're doing it with hands up, you guys got to give me a second to count them. Okay, so Sasha, you are a no. Jane, I imagine you are a no, but I don't, yes. And Robin, you are a no? Okay, thank you, everyone. This will go down as a 5-3 approval with the no's that I just stated. Thank you. Let's move on to our next applicant, which is Palos Cafe LLC, doing business as Palos Asteria. Do we have a representative from Palos here?
Yes.
Is it also great, Michael? Yes, let's do it
Next
all.
one. All right, so this is Paula's Cafe LLC, doing business as Paula's Osteria. We're at 1246 Madison Avenue between 89th and 90th Street. We're a full-service Italian restaurant, open for 5 years. We're an offshoot of Paula's Restaurant that used to be on 92nd and Madison from 2009 to 2020. We have 21 tables with 57 seats and a 12-seat bar inside. Our hours of operation are 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday and Sunday. The outdoor cafe will be open the same hours. We have third-party delivery. The structure is on Madison Avenue, 28 feet, 9.5 inches in length, 8 feet in width. There are 16 tables and 32 seats, and we did operate the structure during COVID. We will comply with all the rules and regulations from DOT.
Thank you for that. Is there any member from the public that has questions or comments on this application? Seeing none, let's go to Robin.
Thanks, Lindsay. Mr. Kelly, I live very, very close by that restaurant. I was walking by there a couple of weeks ago, and I want to make sure I have the right place. Was there outdoor structures, tables, restaurant extensions of any kind during the winter?
Yes. They had a roadway cafe up until November 1st, I believe, when they had to take it down.
So is it possible it came down after November 1st?
I couldn't swear to that.
Okay.
A lot of people thought they were allowed to keep it up to November 29th when everything had to come down. But I don't think what they built before that would have complied with the new city regulations.
Okay, and is it possible that they had cafe seating on the sidewalk during the winter?
During the winter, it's possible. But they have applied for a sidewalk cafe also.
That's what I thought. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Let's recognize Marco.
Thank you again. I had to express to everybody, we have a restaurant that they sign an affidavit, they offer to remove everything. However, they violate. The community board take an action and it was removed. So basically, we take serious our commitment with the community. And so the question is, because I need to be on records, Mr. Michael, are you all going to obey the rules or regulations, or your clients is going to obey the rules and regulations of DOT? Thank you.
Yes, I stated that before, and as I stated with the 1616 application, I informed all my clients about what they did during COVID with the lax enforcement from the city. It's not going to be tolerated now, I don't think, just because of the amount of violations I see people get from the DOT now. And the consents that they're getting, or the license is tied to a revocable consent from the city. The city can pull that revocable consent, you lose your license, and then you lose your investment and what you paid for building the structure. I reiterate that to them all the time.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members of the board who would like to make a motion? Sasha, what's your motion?
Motion to approve.
Wonderful. I will second it and call the question. So this is a motion to approve Palos Cafe doing business as Palos Asteria for their roadway cafe. Is there anyone who's going to be voting no or abstaining on this question? Jane and Sasha are no's. Excellent. Okay. And that's it. Yep. Robin, are you a yes or a no? Robin's a yes. Okay, wonderful. So this is going to go down as a 6-2 approval. let's do the next one, which is Paolo's Restaurant Group, which Mr. Kelly, I imagine this is you as well.
Yes.
Yes, let's go ahead.
This is Paula's Restaurant Group LLC, doing business as Paula's, 1361 Lexington Avenue between East 90th and East 91st. Also a full-service restaurant. They've been open over 3.5 years. It's also an offshoot of Paula's Restaurant from 92nd and Madison. There is third-party delivery. The indoor hours and the outdoor hours are the same, 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. The structure is on Lexington Avenue. It's 36 feet in length, 8 feet in width. There's 18 tables and 36 seats at the most. They did operate a structure during COVID. We will comply with all the rules and regulations from the DOT. And as I did with all my other clients, I told them about the revocable consent and how they can lose their license if they're bad actors.
Thank you. Marco, my hope is that in him positively affirming this, we don't have to do the question, but I'd like to recognize you.
Thank you, but I'm gonna keep saying that because this is the only way that we can take action in the future. Are you going to obey the rules and regulations of DOT? Thank you.
Yes.
Marco, if we get them saying it on Zoom, I don't think we need the Q&A. And in the plea for time, I'm going to hope that we don't do this for every applicant. Sasha.
So I want to clarify, your application says 12 tables. Is it 12 or 18? Because the application says 12 tables, 24 chairs, and you said can fit up to 18.
18 tables and 36 chairs. Let me take a look at the plan.
Because for the Osteria, it said 16 tables, 32 chairs. And for Paola's Restaurant, it says 12 tables, 24 chairs.
This is 18 tables and 36 seats.
Okay. I'm going to vote no. It's even bigger. It's like just as big.
Okay, and I'm just double checking that that's not a clerical error on.
Okay. Yeah, I just not sure.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that because I see it as 12 as well, but that's just like what we get from, oh, I see it as 18 in the application. So my guess,
okay,
12 and 24 is a clerical error that John and I made at some point in the thing. But
okay.
in the application it says 18 and 36. John, do you have is there another explanation, or do we think that's just a goof on our side?
That may be a mistake on my side, honestly. Apologies, the correct number is in reference, it's not 12 and 24. Just want to get correctly confirmation.
Oh, in the application material, it looks like it's 18 tables and 36 chairs. Michael, will you confirm? Is that correct?
That is correct. Now, that's going to be the most of the time these roadway cafes have less seating. It's just the architects get a little zealous, not Marco, and put as many tables and chairs that you possibly could put in there.
Got it. Okay, so that is now going to be reflected differently in our minutes. Thank you. That might have just been an error on our side, but let's go ahead. I'm going to make a motion to approve this. Will someone second that? Perfect. And then would someone call the question?
Call the question.
Wonderful. If you are going to be voting no or abstaining on this application, please let me know. I see a no from Sasha and Jane. Presuming everyone else is yes, this is a 6-2 approval. Thank you very much. Let's move on to 1568 Euro LLC, doing business as Yasu Vlaki. Is there a representative from Yasu Vlaki here?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Hello, Kathleen. Nice to see you again. Can you please tell us about your business?
1568 Gyro LLC, doing business as Yasuvlaki at 1568 3rd Avenue, the corner of 88th Street and 3rd Avenue. This roadway cafe will be on 88th Street towards the rear of the restaurant. It will consist of 9 tables and 28 seats. It's 320 square feet. The hours of operation are 11:30 a.m. to midnight every day. And I did indicate the same hours for the operating of the roadway, but of course we will stipulate to the 10 p.m. Community Board requirement for that, 80% food, 20% drinks, and we do have third-party delivery.
Okay. Would you adhere to the Department of Transportation's rules and regulations?
Well, thank you. Sorry, I forgot that again.
But your answer is?
Yes. Yes, I will. Yes, we will.
Wonderful. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Okay, is there any member of the board that has questions, comments, or a motion for this applicant? Bill?
A motion to approve as presented.
I will second that. And I'll call the question on this. Would someone second that? Perfect. I see from Robin. Let's do that. So this is a motion to approve. If you are going to vote no or abstain on this, please let me know. Jane, I see you as disapproving. Sasha, I see you as disapproving. Everyone else I see as approving. And so I think previously I said those were 6-2s, but that's because I was counting correctly. This is a 7-2 approval. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next one, which is going to be 60 Hospitality, doing business as Avra Madison. Do we have a representative from Avra Madison here?
That's me again. Yes.
All
that's me.
right, let's do this again.
Okay, so this is 60 Hospitality LLC doing business Avra Madison. This cafe will have 28 tables with 58 chairs. The cafe itself is 100 feet by 8 feet in the width. The hours of operation for the restaurant are 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, except for weekends. They're open from 11:30 a.m. to midnight. The hours will be the same, except we will comply with the rules of the community board and close by 10 p.m. They do not have any type of delivery service there. And we will abide by the rules and regulations of the Department of Transportation.
Wonderful, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Let's recognize Robin.
So this is 25 tables and 58 chairs?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Honestly, I don't have a question. This is like a whole second restaurant you're building out here in the street. So I won't be supporting this.
Understood.
Sasha, I feel like you had a question. No question. Okay.
No, yeah, Robin covered what I was gonna say.
Okay, great. Would anyone like to make a motion on the board? Bill?
A motion to approve as presented.
Thank you. I'm going to second that and call the question. Russell seconds that. If there's anyone who's going to be voting against this, please let me know. I see a no from Jane, a no from Sasha, and a no from Robin. All right. So this will go down as a 6-3 approval. Thank you very much. Let's move on to Brasserie Cognac East, doing business as Brasserie Cognac East. If we can unmute Kevin.
Yes, hello, good evening. Is Gina joining as well? Gina Escalante?
I see Gina Escalante at the bottom. John, if you want to go ahead.
Hi.
She's here, Kevin.
Okay. You want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna present. So my name is Gina Escalante. I'm here to represent Brasserie Cognac. It's located on 96th Street, Lexington Avenue. And this is an application for a Broadway Cafe, which is going to be located on East 70th Street. We're applying for 14 tables and 28 seats. We made a design according to the DOT regulations. We are willing to comply with all of them. We're leaving the 15 feet from the fire hydrant that it's on the corner. And our roadway has a length of 19 feet and 6 feet and 10 inches.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Let's recognize Lionel.
Hi. So my first question is, or comment actually, is the uploaded document online on the second last page, the DOT document. The font is extremely small and blurry. So I wasn't able to read half of what was written on it. So that's my first comment. My second comment is the photos that are shown in the presentation show a very empty sidewalk, but anyone who's a regular at Cognac or who lives in the neighborhood, especially who walks there in the summer, much like Via Quadrano, knows that this whole section is full of tables and it's extremely hard to get by, and you actually have to step on the tree bed every time you're trying to get by with a stroller or whatever. So it's a bit tight, in my opinion, to add this. And on top of that, it's in the heart of the historic district, and I think we have this beautiful architecture. And on top of that, it's very unsightly. So that was all I needed to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. If you'd like to respond to anything, you're welcome to do so.
Well, before, there were no regulations during COVID, and that's why the sidewalk was not according to the regulations that DOT stated. But now on the new design for the sidewalk, we're leaving the required path, and there's gonna be the required space for people to walk on the sidewalk.
Okay, thank you. Let's recognize Jane.
Thank you. I happen to live in the neighborhood and I happen to agree with Lionel, and I happen to drive a lot along 70th Street going east. It's a very narrow street there. The restaurant Cognac, which does serve very good food, has tables and chairs. It's part of an outdoor dining operation, and then it has the sidewalk shed. It does not need both. I'm just shocked at how everybody is just pro all these sidewalk sheds. But 70th Street is a narrow street, and the sidewalk there, because of the tables and chairs that are part of the outdoor dining before you get to the road shed, make it very hard to traverse up to Lexington Avenue. So thank you, Lionel, for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's recognize Marco.
Well, I think I want to talk a little bit as a new business at the end, which basically I don't want to compromise to you, Lindsay. It's about rubber rule regulations. Well, in this case specifically, what I consider, yes, I think you follow very well the point that we had to have in record twice or three times that they comply. But also, I think it will be now, this is the time that the applicant should be share at least a picture, share at least the drawings, something where we can make the judgment and then do the presentation. I know it's gonna be longer. I'm sorry, but that's usually this kind of the meetings. It has to be as much as thorough as possible. But at the same time, I know that your role is to move the agenda. And I think in the future, we have to start planning to the applicants has to put at least a picture, because people that come in and they put some complaints, and we can blindly, sometimes we approve unless we have this good stipulation. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to make sure you can see in the Google Drive the pictures of how it looked in COVID, because I can see this right now, and it sounds like there's going to be an adjustment that's happening in the post-COVID regulations, according to Gina. I do understand the desire to have all these images here for everyone, and in a world in which we don't have 25 in a night, I think that's far more reasonable. In the world that we're in right now, it's not reasonable. So that's why we're doing it this way, but hopefully you do have access to these pictures in the Google Drive that we have.
Is Gina able to present on the screen? So yes, we did have 53 seats on the roadway during COVID. Now we're presenting 28 seats, which is, basically, almost half.
Yeah, we actually should all have access to this on the board. The members should have access to this already in their Google Drive. Let's recognize Sasha.
So I'd like if the applicant can confirm, will you also be pursuing like a sidewalk cafe on top of this roadway? Because I don't have a problem, but it's both?
Yeah, it's both.
Okay.
Yeah, but just to clarify, for the sidewalk, we're only applying for 12 chairs.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
If there's
thank you.
who would like to make a motion from the board? And given that I feel like I'm gonna have a Robert's Rules discussion later, okay, Russell, let's go ahead. Motion. Russell, what's your motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second that. Would anyone like to call the question? Wonderful. Would anyone like to second that? Thank you. If anyone's going to be voting no or abstaining on this one, please let me know. I see a no from Jane, a no from Sasha. I myself will be a no as well. So this will go down, and then Robin, it looks like, is a no. Marco, are you a no?
I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
You're going to abstain. Okay, great. So on this motion, sorry, everyone, it's gonna take me a minute to calculate. So we've got, this is gonna be a 4-1 to 4 motion to approve. So this will be something that's handled at the full board meeting, which is happening 2 Wednesdays from now for the final approval or disapproval on it.
So we don't have no position?
We don't have a position. We're 4-1
Okay.
to 4.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead and go to our next one, which is 1490 Rest, doing business as Doc Watson. Is there a representative from this business here? Danny Grace and David Hazan, let's go ahead and unmute them and then have you all tell us a little bit about your business.
Hi, hi everyone. Good evening.
Hey, I think you skipped us. I'm actually from Heidi's house.
Oh my God, you're right. I did. I'm terribly sorry. Heidi's House
No worries.
LLC was I. I'm sorry, everyone. I did skip ahead. Thank you for calling that out.
No problem. Hi, my name is David Hazen. Thank you all for this consideration. My wife and I run Heidi's House, a small quaint restaurant on 78th between First and Second, right next to Ore Washers. We're applying 4 or 5 tables and 10 chairs. Our restaurant hours are from 5 to 12, and I know in the application we did say the outdoor, but we are happy to comply with the community board's limit at 10 p.m. We do 62.5% food, 37.5% drinks. It's quiet, it's quaint, it never gets really loud. There are never any complaints. We actually built a COVID shed, which many people in the community had come over to us and told us how beautiful it was. Obviously, we took it down on time, and we would like to put out a small little place so that our customers can sit outside. And people often find that they want to enjoy our food, but it's hard to navigate our space with strollers. So a lot of parents like to bring their kids to the outdoor space. And
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. And I had a buddy of mine who's an architect help me design all the plans, as well as we intend to comply with all the various DOT regulations.
Thank you. If there's anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant, please let me know. Otherwise, let's go to Russell.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that. Let's recognize Marco.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have any relations with the Haiti House on 2nd Avenue near to 86th Street? Is the same or not?
No.
No, you don't have nothing to do with them.
I don't know about, are you thinking of Heidelberg?
Heidelberg, that's correct.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Not at all. No problem.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion to approve. Would anyone like to call the question? Yes, I see Sasha, and it's seconded by Robin. Excellent. So this is a motion to approve Heidi House, 5 tables, 10 chairs for Roadway Cafe. Is there anyone who's going to be voting no? Jane is a no vote. All right, wonderful. So that is going to go down as a 8-1 approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and go to the next one, which I'm sorry I skipped ahead earlier, which is 1490 Rest. Yes, Danny, sorry about that.
No problem at all. Good evening, everyone. Daniel Grace on behalf of 1490 Resting, doing business as Doc Watson's, between 77th and 78th Street on 2nd Avenue. Business has been there well over 20 years, and is a neighborhood favorite. This application is for a roadway cafe, 5 tables,
20 chairs. The hours of operation will mirror the internal hours, except per the community board stipulations, will close by 10 p.m. every day. No other changes to operation. The applicants will comply with all DOT rules. And just quickly to touch on, to echo some of the points made on applicant sides here, that customers do find outdoor dining extremely valuable. The rules or lack thereof during the COVID period are gone now. They're going to be very strictly enforced. There's going to be a very short leash for applicants. I think this program is going to be very, very good, very valuable for businesses. And I'm sure that if there are any problems, the community board will have us right back here to answer for them. So we also have Bernice here from the bar itself, and we're happy to take any questions.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I see a question from the public. Denise, let's go ahead and unmute Denise.
Hi there. My name is Denise Levine. My bedroom faces 2nd Avenue near Doc Watson's proposed roadway cafe, and I have two concerns about the cafe. One is the overall noise due to the volume of people on the block seated outdoors, and the other is late night noise. Although I didn't realize that you were going to agree to 10 p.m. I thought you were going to go to, because your hours are till 4 a.m. 3 days a week and 2 a.m. 2 days a week. There were 8, for me, this is an issue not of Doc Watson's, but of this one particular block. There are 200 outdoor seats right now approved for unenclosed cafes. That's excluding the enclosed cafe. So there are 8 establishments on the block, this one block on the west side between 77th and 78th Street on 2nd Avenue. Of the 8 establishments, all 8 are restaurants and/or bars, and all 8 were granted liquor licenses by Community Board 8. So this request is in addition to Doc Watson's unenclosed outdoor cafe. They would have now an additional 20 spaces, and this would be on top of the 100 people currently able to sit outside, and on top of any other requests that you might consider for other roadway cafes. So this would add to street noise and increase area rats and vermin. In addition, in particular, Mr. Grace's area would be, I think, a safety hazard, because he has a canopy, which he didn't show in the photo that he submitted, but it goes from the doorway to nearly to the curb. And there are 2 big poles out, and then there are 2 supporting poles. So I think there would be some hazard because there's not an unobstructed path from his proposed cafe to the pedestrian street. But in addition, this is a community, and 3 organizations on our block, 3 restaurants, have requested roadway cafes. So that means that I don't own a car, but half of the street will now have no parking. I think that's a problem too. I mean, I personally am most concerned about the noise, because my bedroom is quite next to his place, and having all of those people outdoors adding to the original people is just going to make it worse. So I'm hoping that you don't approve this, but if you do, I would request that you consider 4 mitigating items. One is to limit the seating to half of the requested amount. 2, to require that nobody sit outdoors after 10 p.m. I mean, it's not just service, they have drinks inside the cafe. I don't want them drinking outside, bringing their drinks out. The third thing is that the applicant agreed that he would play no music at the cafe. And 4th, that he would agree to aggressively clean up the cafe area and surrounding street each night to prevent additional rats and vermin. But I mean, that is really only for mitigation. As far as I'm concerned, this is really a community issue, and in particular, this particular block issue. 8 establishments, 8 retail stores are on this block, 8 are restaurants, and 6 have unenclosed cafes. And 3 are requesting roadway cafes. I mean, this is going to be like it used to be in the Lower East Side, where it was a party block. I mean, people live here. I live here.
Thank you. Danny, do you have anything
Yeah.
you'd like to say?
Sure, and thank you, Ms. Levine. Specifically, this application today, I do understand the context we're in, but this application is for the roadway alone. The Sidewalk Cafe has been there many, many, many years before my time. When I first saw Doc Watson's, it had a Sidewalk Cafe. So this is a new program. This is for the roadway. The rules are going to be very different. The structures need to be removable at almost a moment's notice for sanitation reasons, bad inclement weather reasons, and also if there are any trash, unsightly conditions with these structures, they're also going to have to be, most likely the DOT will or the DOB someone will come down on these structures and have them changed. There won't be any music in the cafe. That's not allowed anymore. That was an early COVID thing, and I think that also got removed fairly quickly. It's a relatively small cafe. It's 5 tables. So to reduce that by half is 2 or 3 tables. There isn't really the economic sense to invest all this money in this structure, which the business have clearly looked at and said this is of value to us, but then have them only operate with a much smaller one. I can assure you that if there are any issues with this, we'll be back here discussing it, and the community board will have their say in withdrawing their support if they give it to us today.
And Danny, given that the proximity that Denise has indicated, do you think it would be appropriate for you and her to exchange information so that she'd be able to talk directly to you all in the event that there's a challenge?
Absolutely, be happy to do that.
Okay, so John, can you facilitate that, please?
Yes.
Okay, so Denise, if you'd like, please send an email over to Community Board 8, and then John will play the link for you to be able to have a feedback mechanism that's instantaneous with Danny Grace. Thank you. Is there anyone from the board that has any questions or comments or motions for this applicant? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve. Looks like Russell's going to second that. Does anyone want to call the question? Looks like Robin, and then maybe Marco or Bill's going to second it. Wonderful. So if you are going to be voting no or abstaining on this, please let me know. And Sasha is no longer with us. Jane, you're a no. Bill, are you a no as well? Oh no, Bill's hand's just up. So Jane is the only no here. Sasha is out for the moment. And then I do still see Todd, but we have him as Zoom user, so we're going to keep him in the count. Thank you very much. This is going to go down as a 7-1 approval. Let's go ahead and move on to Hughes Tavern, doing business as Phil Hughes Tavern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from Phil Hughes Tavern? Yes, Brian Moran, let's go ahead and let you tell us a little bit about your business.
Hi, how you doing? My name is James Moran, Brian's brother. I'm here representing Phil Hughes Bar at 1682 First Avenue on the corner of 88th Street. We've been a family-run business for 68 years. This is an application for a roadway cafe with 10 tables, 30 chairs. We had a roadway cafe for all of COVID. This is going to be much smaller, about half the size. And we will comply with the rules and regulations set up by DOT. And I think that's it. That's coming.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Let's recognize Jean.
Hi, thank you. I am a resident. I live directly across from the cafe. And we actually got together in our building a petition because part of this cafe, which doesn't show, is that there were TVs put up on the wall, the exterior wall of Phil Hughes. So it actually created an outdoor sports bar. And I appreciate that the new structure will be smaller and that the Morans have been receptive in terms of when people pointed out that music wasn't allowed, then they stopped doing that. I think that they have been good neighbors in many ways. The structure they put up was very nice, and they kept it quite clean. But for those of us who live right across the street, it's very, very loud. And being, you're sitting in your living room, it's like you're having a party, but you cannot ask the guests to be quiet. And we have not had good reaction in terms of they have a side door, and very often the side door is open. And I don't know honestly exactly where the speakers are, but the Wednesday night trivia night, I could answer the questions. And so I think we just want to, moving forward, we want to have a reset, I think, because we feel like in our neighborhood, they are a community place, and we appreciate them as a member of our community. And but we would like them to maybe be a better member moving forward. And we very much would like to limit the time. I'll stop talking because I think a couple of other people want to speak. I think that our petition that we had 29 people sign from our building actually calls for no outdoor TVs, to close the roadway cafe at 9 p.m., to keep the 88th Street door closed at all times, and also to post signage asking people to be respectful of the neighbors, and to take responsibility for unruly neighbors. So if the TVs are not up, I think we will have many fewer issues because there won't be people yelling and cheering for their sports teams. There will probably still be birthday parties. Anyway, I want other people to have an opportunity to speak. And so those are just, I think we want them to be good neighbors. We want to be good neighbors to them, and we'd like them to do the same. That's it. Thank you.
Jane, thank you for that commentary. James, do you have any responses you'd like to offer?
Oh, thank you, Jane, for speaking. Yeah, I think that the new 10 o'clock closing time, which the community board is putting forward, will help for sure. Yeah, I didn't know you had a petition. That's I know you have my number. I give you my number. If you ever have an issue, just contact me directly. Please share that with the other people on the petition too. And we want to be good neighbors. And as part of the community too. It's yeah. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and recognize Stephanie E.
Yeah. Hi. I second everything Jean said. I live just below her, so I'm actually about 20 feet from where the bar is. It makes it impossible to open my window when anyone is there. I'm not going to relitigate any of the COVID stuff because I know there are new rules now that you're willing to enforce. So thank you very much for that. But just to add a couple of things, sometimes when large groups come in, like after a sports game, they make a lot of noise and there's no noise control. And previously they were there after the designated hours, although hopefully that's been remedied. And another thing is occasionally people will smoke outside of the designated smoking area, which means directly under my window. So there are a lot of pain points. So if we could keep the bar open, but with some regulation and some way to have a direct line to you guys to mitigate some of this stuff in the moment, that would be really helpful.
All right, thank you. Let's go back to Jean because I see she's popped something back up, and then we'll move on to Rich.
Okay. The one other thing I guess I would just point out, or I would like to know how they're going to secure the space when they're not using it. Because in the previous iteration, the chairs got put up and stuff. But what happens is people go home, they're open till 4 a.m. inside. And also just people going home on the street when the tables are out and it was always lit up, which in a way made it safer, but it was lit up. People would stop and chat and just lean on the tables. And, it might only be for 15, 20 minutes. But if you're sleeping, it wakes you up. And so I just want to have some way. It's tricky to call Brian or James, at 2 in the morning to get up and get out of bed and go do that. So if there's a way that section will in fact be closed off, so it's not inviting for a like, let me lean on the tables and chat with my friend. That would be important, I think.
James or Brian, if you've got anything to respond to.
Yeah, no, that's a good suggestion there, Gina. I suppose we could put up some sort of chain across it, something
Yeah, I
with
think,
actual
the
clothesline so that people
regulations, the
can't
regulations are
even
that it's
access the
supposed to be
space.
secured. It's supposed to be secured at night. They're not very clear in terms of that, but
Yeah,
yeah, something. I'm not sure either. Yeah.
I will come up with something for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's recognize Rich Reed.
Hi, it's actually Kate. I'm using my husband's login. Thank you for letting me speak. I think that this application, it's a great addition to the neighborhood. I've witnessed parents with their strollers parked, plenty of room, gathering for a chat, dog walkers with their dogs sitting having some water out of the bowl, especially in the warm weather. So it has been great. I'd like to say the sidewalk is really quite big, so it allows for a good pedestrian flow. So there is a lot of space. And that's it. I want to voice my support for it. I think it's a great addition, great asset. Thank you.
Thank you very much for adding that. Let's recognize Marco.
Thank you. For the neighbors, I would like to tell them if they continue with the noise after 4 o'clock, you should contact us because we can call them because these are regulations for the liquor license. If they operate longer or they don't operate, they shouldn't operate longer than 4 o'clock selling alcohol. And please, the neighbors, contact us. I strongly recommend to do that. And the second point is about one of the neighbors asked him about the TV on the walls. Yes, I passed by and I saw that. Are you willing to put any stipulations to remove this TV, even though the DOT regulation doesn't mention at all?
I hadn't thought about it. There is no regulation. We don't know what we would like some guidance. It's I do see a lot of other places do it as well. But yeah, we do plan on complying with all the rules and regulations set forward by the DOT.
But you are not willing to remove the TV from the walls.
They're removed right now. I haven't decided whether we're going to put them.
But are you willing to put as a stipulation that you're going to remove, even though that you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Let's recognize Russell.
I want to make a motion to approve with stipulations.
Okay.
So,
the stipulations that you're noting is the no outdoor TVs mounted.
I guess if that's, what, I mean, I would have thought that the timing restriction would have been sufficient there. But if the applicant agrees to that, then let's include it. But yeah, in general, I mean, it seems like the timing restriction addressed most of the concerns. I think it sounds like the applicant is on board with securing the tables and stuff, out there after they're not using that anymore. So I would include that, and then just for James or some other responsible person to share their cell phone with whoever signed the petition who doesn't have it already, which I understand he agreed to do. So I think that's all the stipulations, right? Let me know if I left anything out. And I just also, I guess, James, if there's something in there that is problematic or whatever, then let's talk about that. But it sounded like that was all stuff that you were on board with.
Yeah, so James, this will be that moment where you can say what you want to say or forever hold your peace, because I'm writing the stipulations up right now. It sounds like what you are willing to agree to is to securing the outdoor furniture in the evening,
Yes.
share your contact information with residents who might have concerns, and then agree to not mount TVs on the exterior parts of the walls.
Is that a time
Okay.
thing potentially, or?
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, maybe this is a question for the public. Like, is there a time restriction that would be acceptable for the televisions?
Let's recognize Stephanie and then Kate.
Hi, the TVs, I mean, I'm one of many, so this probably doesn't apply to everyone, but I work from home. And so if there are games earlier in the day, there are crowds there. And I get a lot of noise during important meetings while I'm trying to get work done. My desk literally faces what is now the bar. And so the TVs are my major point of contention, honestly.
Okay, let's recognize Kate.
I think the TVs are excellent. They're not on as such that they're blasting. They're there really so that you can watch the games that are on during the day, and it does attract, like I said, a lot of families. They're hanging out. It's a great sense of community. So I would support the TVs.
Okay, let's recognize Jean.
Yeah, so I think the TVs seem to be a big issue. I have one thing that might, I don't know how Stephanie feels about this. The timing definitely helps, but my feeling is that having them on the weekdays is not a good thing for her, especially. And the problem is saying we have a 10 o'clock cutoff. I think it's very, very difficult for any owner to go to their people and say, okay, the game goes on till 10, but now you have to go inside. I think if they just understand that if we're watching TV, we're watching inside. You know, it's a sports bar, it's an interior sports bar. I don't see in this application where they have outdoor chairs, but they did have chairs actually on the sidewalk as well in what's like the DOT calls a serving zone, I think. And they aren't applying for that, but it was really all set up to, you know, to point toward those tables. So I don't know if there's a compromise regarding like weekend, but I just know that in the evening, you know, sports fans are watching their show and then it's over. Oh, sorry.
Well, that's, I mean,
And then, you know, it gets over at 11. Oh, they're hitting a home run. I'm not going now at 10.
Yeah.
You know, I just, it's tricky. It's really
Yeah.
tricky.
Russell, I want to kick this back to you because I'm like very happy to facilitate these sort of things, but I don't know that we want to be like modifying every application in a bunch of minutia each time. So Russell, do you have another thought or idea on what seems reasonable here?
to me, I mean, it seems to me like it should be sufficient to have the TVs off at 10 o'clock, because I think if I take Jean's point about, you know, the difficulty, but that's the responsibility of the establishment. And if they're undertaking to do that, and if they're willing to commit to do that, then, you know, I basically trust them to do it. And if they don't do what they say they're going to do, then that's something that we should deal with. And I think to the extent that, you know, if what they find is that it's better not to start a game that's going to go late so that they don't have to do that, you know, that's going to be up to them. They'll have to work that out. But ultimately, I sort of would let them, you know, handle that. And again, if they're willing to commit to doing that, then I would say that should do it. And I just, with all due respect to Stephanie, I'm just more concerned about people who have issues with noise at night than, you know, stuff going on during the day. I just think, you know, it just is just the reality of, you know, being in a city and what have you, and you're just going to have to, you know, it just sort of goes with the territory.
All right, let's do Stephanie, Denise, and then we'll do Bill.
Yeah, just to clarify, the issue is not the volume of the TVs, it's the volume of the humans watching the TVs. Just to clarify that point. The weekday versus weekend thing, I can get on board with weekends. I really don't care. It is the city. People get loud. But the weekday thing has been a real issue. And if there is a sports game on, and God forbid I want some fresh air, I want to take my dog out for a walk, it's like there's people everywhere. It's incredibly noisy. It becomes hard to focus at work. And there are also a lot of children on my floor. There's a school on our block, so there are tons of kids here. And I can't imagine that they are pleased with the noise either. I don't know if any of them are on. Please feel free to raise your hand. But it's more of the crowds that gather to watch the games, and they can get incredibly noisy.
Okay.
So I would just ask the applicant, I would ask, how big of a deal is it for them if, they don't have the TVs on during the day on weekdays, but they're still able to do it during the day on weekends, and there's a, 10 o'clock cutoff.
Yeah, James, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, that actually seems like a really nice compromise where it's like there's no TVs during the weekdays. And Stephanie, I can see that you seem amenable to that sort of thing. Let's talk to Denise.
Hi, I mean, this is just, this doesn't affect me personally, but it seems to me that this is an interior sports bar. And the fact that you have unenclosed outdoor space and roadway space, that's a benefit in addition to your interior sports bar. I don't believe that a sports bar should be engaging in activities that people in the street are howling. I understand it's great for the bar, but people live here. I mean, I myself know if you need to go to work, if you need to wake up the next morning, you don't even need an excuse. People live here. You shouldn't be hearing shouting in the street. If people want to scream in the bar, they can go indoors and not sit outside, in my mind.
Thank you.
It just seems that you are on a community board, and the community board needs to represent more than the local businesses. They need to also represent the people who live here.
Thank you. Let's recognize Marco.
Thank you. I think I strongly disagree with this resolution with the TVs. I truly recommend that you should read the zoning resolution. The zoning resolution clearly established that this is a residential district. The only business that we have is just only in the first floor. The rest is residential. And we have to maintain the business that support our business. In this case of the sports, well, I used to play in asphalt green and different places. Most of the players, what I'm seeing, well, I don't want to go in that direction, but they joined just only to have a beer. And this is fine. If that's the way they consider this is the way to recreate, that's fine. Yes, they can go, and when they go to that bar, and I pass several times, it is very noisy. And this is not the character of, especially in the district that is very quiet, that district. So I strongly oppose any business or any TV on the walls. Thank you.
Okay, so as it stands, we have a motion that's been put forward that has application, or the applicant will agree to secure the outdoor furniture, share their contact information with residents, and not use their televisions during the week. Brian, do you have a
There's a
question?
10 p.m. cutoff, right?
Yeah, there's a 10 p.m. cutoff always for all the
Okay. All
stipulations.
right, so that doesn't have to be. Okay.
Any outdoor stuff is 10 p.m. Yeah. Brian?
I'd like to call the question on this. I think we've heard the
Correct.
same views a number of times.
All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm also going to note that now it looks like we are not only down Sasha, but Todd Stein is also gone. So we are going to be a smaller body for this, but that's the motion, is to approve with the stipulations that we've been talking about. If anyone's going to be voting no or abstaining, please let me know. Marco?
Absolutely no.
You're a no? Okay. And then is Jane here anymore? I feel like maybe Jane is gone as well. Bill, where are you?
No.
Okay, so Bill is a no. Marco is a no. Jane is no longer here. Neither is Todd. Okay, so this is gonna go down as a Robin.
I'm a no, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you. So now this is gonna go down as a 3-3 no position. This is gonna be one that is gonna be taken up at the full community board. Thank you. We'll see you all there, or hopefully representatives of both the business side and the residents. This is happening 2 Wednesdays from now. Let's go ahead and go to Buy the Glass 2 LLC, doing business as Uva Next Door. Sean Miller seems to be there. And maybe Hari.
Yes. Hi. Hi,
Hello.
Lindsay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'd like to also say your educational materials and civic and political education materials, I follow it, and it's a great service, and thank you for doing
Thanks
that.
a bunch. Are you here with Uva?
Yes, we're here with Uva Next Door. This is Buy the Glass LLC 2. Uva Next Door is owned by the Lusardis. I'm sure all of you know the Lusardi family. This one's operated by Massimo Lusardi. Massimo is Mauro's son. They've been in this neighborhood for many, many years. It's a great restaurant. It's a pillar of the community. This is the address is excuse me, sorry. It is 1484 Second Ave. And they have 8. So there's a roadway and a sidewalk cafe. There's 8 tables in the sidewalk with 16 chairs. And there's 15 tables in the roadway and 30 chairs. They will agree to abide by the rules of the NYC Department of Transportation and the Community Board stipulations.
Wonderful. Is Sean Miller with you all, or is this
Sean is one of our attorneys as well, and he's on this as well.
Okay, so I'm going to recognize Denise Levine, unless Sean, you have something to add to that presentation.
No, nothing to add.
All right,
Thanks.
so let's go ahead and recognize Denise.
Hi. Before I make a comment, I think the application wasn't for 30 chairs, it was for 16 chairs. I think Mr. Callion said it wrong.
Yeah, I see
in the
8 tables
application
and
it's 8 tables and
chairs.
16 chairs, right?
That's right. 8. Yes.
In other words, he currently has 16 chairs and he wants to add another 16. So he wants to have a total of 32 chairs.
For the Roadway Cafe, as I see it, it's 8 tables and 16 chairs. Will you correct
Plus, plus he has the sidewalk cafe, the unenclosed cafe of 8 and 16.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So I have nothing against Lusardi's. As a matter of fact, I spoke to Mario Lusardi this afternoon, and I conveyed to him my concerns that I have nothing against Lusardi's per se, but this block has 8 restaurants, 6 unenclosed cafes, applications by 3 roadway cafes, over 100 outdoor seats. I don't think this is reasonable for a community. I think that you should choose between an unenclosed cafe or a roadway cafe, not both. I'm sorry, but
if I could respond, Chair.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're actually talking about Uva Next Door, not Lusardi's.
Okay, but between Uva and Uva Next Door, you have 32 seats. So out of 100, over 100 seats now that are unenclosed. I mean, it just seems that it's the block. We will have no parking, we'll have more vermin, we'll have more outdoor noise. I understand that you're looking to support this business, which I like, but I don't think it's appropriate to add more mass to this particular block.
Thank you. Let's recognize Todd Stein.
I don't know why you don't see me. I'm here.
somehow I got lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did get lost, but now I see you. Were you here for that last one then?
Yes, I was. I don't know what happened.
I don't like
Sorry.
that. That means you were a yes, I imagine.
Yes.
So it passed.
Sorry.
Okay, so that passed, and then, I mean, John, we got to go back and do that because I didn't have him on the record.
I don't know what happened. I'm trying to, yeah, I apologize. I didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Let's like put that little kerfluffle aside and deal with it later. Let's go back to this one. We're on Uva next door. Does anyone from the community board have questions or comments for this applicant or a motion to make? Todd or Russell, sorry.
Motion to approve.
All right, I second that. Anyone want to call a question? I'm going to take Brian Christ's like head nod as that, and Robin is doing a second. Perfect. So the question is a motion to approve for Uva next door. If anyone's going to be voting no or abstaining, please let me know. Okay, this one's going to go down as a 7-0 approval. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, Hari. Let's now move to Margarita's Yorkville, doing business as Calabrijes, Margaritas, and Tacos.
So, yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed the comment on their application, but they, as I informed the application, they withdrawn. But they have not given us a confirmation from DOT yet. So we have not gotten confirmation from DOT yet. We've
Okay.
only gotten confirmation from them.
Okay, so we're gonna like move on from that tonight then. Let's go on then to CSL Restaurant, doing business as EJ's. Hi, Richard, you're here for that?
I am here for that.
Wonderful.
Wow. Thought you'd never get here. So I am Director of Operations of CSLL Restaurant Corp., doing business as EJ's Luncheonette, located at 1271 3rd Avenue on the corner of 73rd Street. We are open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, seat 100 people in the restaurant, which includes 10 at our counter. We are applying to add 2 roadway cafes, one on 3rd Avenue and one on 73rd Street, which would be pretty similar to what we had during COVID, but much smaller. And of course, fully compliant with the DOT rules and regulations. Together, the 2 seating areas will have 14 tables and 44 guests.
Thank you very much. Is there any question or comment from members of the public? Seeing none, let's go to Russell. John, will you unmute Russell, please?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Brian?
I'll second it.
Great. I'm going to call the question and then someone else will second that. Bill does that. Wonderful. So this is a motion to approve for EJ's Luncheonette. If you're going to be voting no or abstaining, please let me know. All right, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Let's head.
Lindsay, sorry, just wanted to flag for the previous one that was a withdrawal, the DOT still needs an explanation from us of like our reasoning, particularly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so they
you. So
still need
we
a
can
vote.
make a motion to disapprove perhaps at the end of this because they didn't show up to the meeting. Does that sound reasonable? That feels reasonable. Brian and Russell, though, thoughts?
I was gonna say we can just deny it as moot now, essentially. I mean, I think we could just,
Well, if you guys want to make a motion to disapprove that one now, that's fine with me.
I could move to disapprove it as moot right now.
Russell, do you have any other thoughts on this? Because I agree to that.
I don't understand what's going on.
John, can you do an explanation?
So Margarita Yorkville LLC, DBA Calories, Margarita and Tacos, at 1619 York Avenue. They informed me, and it says in their application they withdraw their application. They would let DOT know. DOT has not confirmed yet. So, but if that's the case, and we haven't gotten confirmed by DOT, we still need to give an opinion to DOT on that resolution, on that application.
Do we have until the board meeting?
We have until after that, really. We have until 3/20 is when this deadline is.
So if we need a resolution to, like, maybe we make it a conditional disapproval or something like that if they don't withdraw it. If they withdraw it, it seems to me that that's it and we don't have to do anything. Right? The whole potential reason we would disapprove is if they don't actually withdraw it to DOT and they haven't come before us.
So I would feel fine with that as well, like a conditional disapproval, but you're right, there's nothing to make anything on if they're not gonna do it.
Like I'm assuming, I'm hoping that they're actually going to withdraw it to DOT by the time it comes to that, and that they haven't done it yet. I don't think it's a situation where they're telling us they withdrew it and, you know, that's like they're lying to us or something like that. I mean, who knows? But so.
Okay,
right,
so
assuming it's
can I lean on
withdrawn.
your experience here? And would you tell me then if you were in the situation, do you think like a motion like you said to conditionally disapprove makes sense?
Yeah, I think, yes, let's do that. And I think we can just.
Brian, are you okay with that? Brian, you seem fine with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Russell, will you tell me what you're saying?
So if we don't get confirmation from DOT that they've withdrawn their application, we disapprove their application because they never came to us.
Okay. Okay.
And if they do confirm that they've withdrawn or whatever, we get confirmation somehow that it's been withdrawn, then the resolution goes away.
Okay. I'm going to write that up a little bit later, but for everyone who's in here, we understand what Russell said. Is there anyone who disagrees with that as the action that we take right now? Okay. Marco.
Well, I think Russell knows very well parliament procedure. If the resolution was put on the floor and somebody second, if he wants to do something different, he has to put a substitution motion and do not change the motion.
I think it was a friendly amendment.
No, you didn't say it, and you just said, and that is the parliament procedure. You know very well. I don't have to teach you anything to you, because you know perfectly very well.
Lindsay described it as a friendly amendment, which Brian agreed with.
Okay.
But it's like, but what's the difference if this? So what? I put my hand down, I raise my hand again, and I say substitute motion, and I say the same thing that I just said. It's the same thing, but it was a friendly amendment. For the
regrettably, Robert rules follow this condition. Thank you.
Okay, so Russell, I'm going to take it as you are going to submit this as a friendly amendment. Brian Christ is going to agree to it.
That's what already happened.
I agree. And so the question now to us is, does anyone disapprove of that as the action that we take? Yeah, Marco.
I vote no.
Okay. Okay. Great. Let's move on then to our next one, which is Eat Madison 91, doing business as Eli's Essentials. Hello, Mr. Kelly. Welcome back.
Okay. All right, so this is a roadway application for Eat Madison 91 LLC, doing business as Eli's Essential, located at 26 East 91st Street, for a full-service restaurant with 48 tables, 96 seats inside. Our hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. That'll be the hours inside and outside, except for Sunday, where we'll start at 10 a.m. We have a 22 by 8 foot structure on Madison Avenue with 9 tables and 28 seats at the most. We're approximately 28 feet from the crosswalk and 15 feet from the fire hydrant. We have a 25 by 8 foot structure on East 91st Street with 10 tables and 40 seats at the most. We're 8 feet from the crosswalk. It's a non-approaching crosswalk, so we could be 8 feet from it. And if there are any questions, we're ready to answer them.
Great. It looks like going to the public, Julie Fisher has a question.
Yes, I live across the street from Eli's, and I think I speak for virtually the whole building that, first of all, the rats and the trash that have been generated by this restaurant, as many of the outdoor sheds, it's gotten so much worse. But this particular restaurant has outdoor structures on both Madison and 91st Street. They don't need both sides. They don't really need anything. And on Madison, the traffic issue is so bad because their very popular restaurant that serves ice cream in the summer and hot chocolate in the winter has a line around the block virtually every day, certainly every weekend day. And, you know, bless them. I mean, they're very popular and that's great for their business, but it makes traversing the area virtually impossible. And there's no reason for it.
Okay. I don't know, Michael, if you'd like to respond to anything there.
We are very popular. It does get very crowded. That's why I think the extra seating in the roadway alleviates a lot of the people standing on the sidewalk because they can go sit down in our roadway cafes.
All right, is there anyone from the board that has questions or comments or emotion on this question? Bill?
A motion to approve as presented.
Thank you very much. Would anyone second that? I will. Would anyone
Can I
like?
say one thing? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
We will comply with all the rules and regulations from DOT.
It almost got out. We almost didn't do it.
All right.
Marco, what do you got?
Thank you. I think Julie is asking again. Can you call her, please? Or it's up to you. It is your choice.
Well, I know. I mean, we do have a motion on the floor, and I could be like,
I was going to call the
with
question.
it and be like, yeah, and
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
going to
going
call
to
the question. Yeah, let's go ahead and call the question.
Call the question.
Thank you. On this question, which is the approval of Eat Madison 91 doing business as Eli's Essentials, is there anyone who's going to be voting no or abstaining? Okay, otherwise, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to Eat Lexington 87, doing business as Eli's. This version is the Lexington one. Michael, is that you?
Yes, it is. For Eat Lexington 87, located at 426 East 91st. We have a roadway structure that's 8 feet by 9 foot 3 inches on East 87th Street with 4 tables and 12 seats. And we're open about 10 years. And that's it.
Do you want to comply to anything or?
And we will comply with all the rules and regulations from the DOT.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public who have questions or comments for this applicant? Seeing none, let's go to Russell.
I realize that it's too late to include it in a stipulation, but on the last one, is there something you can do on Madison about the lines? You know, just making sure that the lines aren't blocking the sidewalk and all of that. Will you just, make a commitment to us that you'll address it?
Yes, I will talk to Eli about it.
Thank you. And now we'll have this recording forever in YouTube for us to come back and look at that. Thank you. Are there any thoughts on this current one? Eat Lexington 87 LLC. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve. Would anyone like to second that? Looks like Russell. Does anyone want to call the question? Looks like Robin. Looks like Marco will second that. Let's go ahead and call the question on this one then. So this is a vote to approve Eat Lexington 87 LLC doing business as Eli's Essentials. If anyone's going to vote no or abstain, please let me know. Otherwise, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to our next one, which is Outstanding Grounds, doing business as Birch Coffee. I see Jeremy Lyman.
And hi, hold on. There we go. Hi, how's everyone doing? Thanks for having us tonight. So my name's Jeremy Lyman. I'm one of the owners of Birch Coffee. We're applying for roadway seating. It's we're on 88th Street between 3rd Avenue and Lexington. We don't have any bike delivery. There's no music outside. We'll comply with all DOT rules and regulations. We did have outdoor seating during COVID. It was an enclosed structure. We did actually get one complaint because the hours are 7:30 to 4 p.m. We had gotten a complaint that kids were sitting at the tables late at night. So what we did was we installed gates, and that pretty much stopped that from happening moving forward. The tables that we're going to have now are all going to be removable. So at 4 o'clock, we'll just tie them up, and that'll be that. So I think that is everything.
Jeremy, thank you so much for demonstrating what it is to have a complaint and then say how you addressed a complaint. That was very nice. Is there anyone from the community that has a question or comment for this applicant? Seeing none, is there anyone from the board that has Marco?
Quick question. How far are you from the corner? Approximately. 100 feet or less than 100 feet?
Less than 100 feet. We're
Okay,
actually,
thank you. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions, concerns, or motions that anyone on the board would like to make? Russell?
Motion to approve.
Great. Looks like Brian is seconding it. And someone else is calling the question, probably Todd, it looks like, with Bill seconding that. Awesome. So the question is a motion to approve outstanding grounds doing business as Birch Coffee. If anyone's going to be voting no or abstaining, please let me know. Otherwise, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval. Great. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you all.
Let's now go on to our next order of business, which is Campagna Felix LLC, doing business as San Mateo, the 2nd Avenue, East 80th and 81st Street location. Do we have a representative from this business here?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, Fabio, finally. Hello.
How's everything?
You've
It's
been
all
here
right.
the whole time.
I got the whole time.
So
So,
yeah.
my name is
Okay,
Fabio
let us know.
Casella. I represent San Mateo Restaurant Group. We got 2 locations on the Upper East Side. We've been operating for 17 years now. I'd like to say hi to Mr. Marco. We go back a long time. And we apply for Roadway Cafe. I don't got in front of me the application. I was away in Italy when my team applied, so I don't know. It's almost the same thing when we had it through COVID. We never had a complaint in 17 years, I believe in it. None of the restaurants. And we're going to operate respecting all the rules.
I imagine you mean the rules of the Department of Transportation.
Department, yes.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Is there anyone from the board? Russell?
Motion to approve.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
And it looks like Todd's going to second that. Would someone call the question? Looks like Brian's going to do that. Marco seconds that. Let's go ahead. If there's anyone who's going to be voting no or abstaining on this one, please let me know. Marco?
No, I'm going to support that application. Sorry.
Okay, so this is going to be a 7-0. Fabio, thank you so much. I know you've been on for the whole time. Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. Let's now head to Eli's Manhattan. I feel like we might get Michael Kelly again. It's too bad we couldn't do all yours together, Michael. Yeah,
This is I got to do all my emails.
that's great. Good.
So this is a Roadway Cafe application for Eli's Manhattan Warehouse. We're located at 1411 3rd Avenue at the corner of 80th Street. We operate under Eli's Manhattan Warehouse and Eli's Table. Been open and operating over 15 years. It's a full-service restaurant and also a supermarket. So there's 2 structures. One is 11 feet, 3 inches by 8 feet with 5 tables and 14 seats. The other is 40 feet by 8 feet with 18 tables and 54 seats. These are at the most. Both structures are on 3rd Avenue. They start 27 feet from the crosswalk and about 24 feet from the fire hydrant. The indoor hours are 5:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So we'll be operating in the cafe according to your hours, and we will comply with all the rules and regulations from the DOT.
Wonderful. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Is there anyone from the board that has questions, comments, or a motion on this application? Marco,
Call the question.
what question are we calling?
I'm sorry. Motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I will second
Thank
that. Yes, I'll second that. Bill's gonna call the question. Todd's gonna second that. We're all in agreement. If there's anyone who wants to vote no or abstain on this one, please let me know. Otherwise, this is gonna go down as a 7-0 approval, which is what it looks like. Wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to our next one, which is Moss Mescal. Is there a representative from Moss Mescal here?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mary Silva. This is Connor Healy.
Hello.
We represent Maz Mescal on East 86th Street. We will comply with all rules, regulations regarding any outdoor dining by DOT. We are applying for
21 chairs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables for Roadway Cafe.
Okay, and have you ever had any complaints that you know of?
That we know of, no complaints for the outdoor dining.
Thank you very much. Does anyone from the public have questions or comments for this applicant? Let's go to Marco.
I would like to put a motion and then to
Marcos.
speak. The motion is to approve as presented, and then I would like to speak. If somebody second.
It's seconded by Russell.
Oh, okay. So I think this is this restaurant has been even behaving very well during the pandemic. They did the right thing. I think the only thing that to say thanks is to approve right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcos.
Very special.
Thank you for noticing. I appreciate that.
There.
Wonderful. Would anyone like to call the question? Perfect. Bill is doing it. Marco's seconding it. If anyone wants to vote no or abstain on this, please let me know. Otherwise, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go to Luma Restaurant doing business as Lusardi's. And yep, we'll recognize Hari and Sean again.
Hi, this is Sean Miller on behalf of Luma Restaurant, doing business as Lusardi's Restaurant, located 1494 2nd Avenue between East 77th and East 78th. This is a dining application for outdoor dining application for a roadway cafe, 10 tables and 20 chairs. And we will comply with all DOT regulations.
Okay. Hari, do you have something you want to add to that presentation?
Yeah, just to be clear, is this I mean, there's a sidewalk cafe and a roadway cafe. I think there's an existing sidewalk cafe. So this is an application for the additional roadway.
Yeah, this is for the roadway cafe, 10 tables, 20 chairs is what we're considering right now. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Let's go to Robin.
Lindsay, thanks. I have no objection to the application itself, but when we have applicants come before our committee on CB8, should they not be on camera?
I think generally that is the preference, but I don't know that we have a regulation that merits or demands it.
Okay, thank you.
Marco? Marco is still being muted, it looks like.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion and then to speak. The motion is to approve as presented. Somebody second?
Seconded, yes.
I think this is another restaurant that behave very well. And usually it's a very nice restaurant, very attractive. And I strongly support. This is where it's one of the few restaurants that I support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like to call the question here? Bill's calling the question. I will second that. So if anyone would like to vote no or abstain on this, please let me know. Otherwise, this will go down as a 7-0 approval. All right. Thank you very much, Sean and Hari, for this.
Thanks.
Next one is Fingal LLC doing business as 5 Lamps. Is there a representative from this business here?
Hello.
Hi, Davey. I
Hey,
see this. Yes.
Hey, how are you?
So my name is David Carrick. I'm the part owner manager of the Five Lamps. It's our DBA Fingal LLC. It's on 1586 York Avenue between 83rd, 84th Street. It's an application for a roadside cafe. It's actually 4 tables, 20 chairs. If just want to point that out.
Oh, 4 tables, 20 chairs, because we have it as 12, or we have it as
4 and 8, I believe.
chairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we agreed to abide by all the rules and regulations by the DOT. We've been in operation a few years with Roadside Cafe. This will be probably about half in size. We did have allowances from the same landlord next to it. But we play by all the rules. Any questions, we're happy to answer.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who has questions or comments for this applicant? Marco.
Thank you. Are you going to put the TV on the wall?
No, we've never had a TV on the wall.
I saw that. But in any event, thank you, if you don't put it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, would anyone like to make a motion? It looks like Russell is going to make a motion, which I'm going to guess is a motion to approve, and Bill's going to second it, and Todd wants to call the question. Brian's going to second that. Okay, so let's call the question on this, which is a motion to approve 5 lamps. If you're going to be voting no or abstaining, please let me know. All right, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval. Thank you for coming out, Davey.
Thank you very much, guys.
Let's go to our next one, which is Quattro Amici Corporation, doing business as Italianissimo Ristorante. Is there a representative here? Looks like I'm seeing someone waving. Is this? Yes, great.
Hi. Hi. My name is Edgar. I'm the manager. I'm here with the owner, Luigi Campoverdi. It's right here with me. And we apply for a out road cafe for 4 tables, 12 chairs. We've been operating for 22 years. And of course, we will comply with all the regulations. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
Okay, have you had any complaints against your outdoor?
No, we haven't had any,
Okay.
as far as I know.
Anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Is there anyone from the board that has questions or comments or a motion they'd like to make on this application? Marco.
Yeah, I would like to put a motion then to speak. The motion is to approve as presented.
All right, I would second that. Go ahead.
Okay, I think this is another restaurant, very quiet, very nice, very quiet, completely in that section. Even that is close to the mid block. They shouldn't be there, but it's very quiet. This is why I support this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco.
All right, and would anyone like to call a question? Looks like Todd's going to do that. Robin's seconding. So this is a motion to approve Italianissimo. If there's anyone who's voting no or abstaining, please let me know. Otherwise, this will go down as a 7-0 approval. All right, that's what this one looks like. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll now go to, oh my God, our last one in roadway dining. We're almost there, everyone. Hooray. Alla Turca, is there a representative from this business here for their...
Yes.
Hooray, will you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, my name is Utku Seçer. I'm the manager of Alaturka, located on 1417 2nd Avenue, the corner of 74th Street. And this application is for the Roadway Cafe on 74th Street. We have 10 tables and 30 chairs and 8 feet by 40 feet, much smaller than previous one. We use third-party deliveries, and hours of operation is 11:15 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. We will comply all the regulations by DOT. And that's all.
Okay, and then we have a stipulation that for all the outdoor activity, it ceases at 10 p.m. Is that something you're also willing to?
Well, actually, yeah, I mean, we put that 10:30 as our usual operation, but outdoor dining is usually ends at 10. We will change it if it needs to be.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Is there anyone from the board that has questions, comments, or motions to make on this application? Russell,
Motion to approve.
great. It looks like Bill is seconding that. Would anyone like to call the question? Marco is calling the question and I'm seconding that. So this is a motion to approve. If there's anyone who's going to be abstaining or voting no, please let me know. Otherwise, this is going to go down as a 7-0 approval.
Thank
All right,
you.
guys, we are ready with some roadway dining. Let's go to the last item of business that we have on the agenda for considering in the applications tonight, which is for new license through the Office of Cannabis Management for an adult use retail dispensary. I see Wei Hu, you're here representing 2147 44th Street. Or no?
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, good evening so much. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, yep, my name is Wei Hu. I'm both the attorney for and also minority member of 2147 44th Street LLC. We seek to operate on 1720 2nd Avenue between 89th and 90th Streets in the Upper East Side. We are at least 1,000 feet from every other licensed dispensary. And we will abide by all of the Office of Cannabis Management regulations if we are so licensed. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Is there anyone from the board that has questions or comments for this applicant? I have a question. Something that we've been noticing in some of the licensed cannabis dispensaries that we've had is, despite the fact that we have a discussion about making sure that you can't see product from the street, we are having reports that you can see products from the street. Can you give us a commitment that that will not be something that we have to deal with your store should it be licensed?
Oh, absolutely. Just for full transparency, I've been before this board about last year. I am also co-owner of a Lenox Hill Cannabis Co. On 73rd Street between First and Second Avenues. And we have almost like a 99% opaque, window frosting.
Yes,
The only
we had a challenge with the signage on that store, but it seemed like we were able to get that remedied as soon as we had a discussion. And I trust that that probably wouldn't be a problem here either.
No, sort of groping and learning through all this. We've had a few just in full transparency. At Lenox Hill, there's some people who double parked at Lenox Hill, and we've been trying to be proactive with our security to make sure that none of the customers double park while patronizing our establishment. And of course, we will have the same diligence to making sure that we are neighborhood friendly to operate the Upper East Side. So definitely we will have opaque, window frosting, just designating that we are licensed, adult use dispensary for those 21 and over. Nothing unique in terms of our logo design, no cannabis. For 73rd Street, we had 73rd Street as our logo. This envision, it'll be 89th Street or 90th Street for our logo. And that's how we will conduct business.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that has questions or comments for this applicant? Russell, let's go to you.
So the name of the establishment is going to be 89th Street or 90th Street, something like that?
We're finalizing it. I've had some experience in running Lenox Hill Cannabis Co. Nothing too imaginative. It'd be like Carnegie Hill Cannabis Co. That's what we're leaning towards.
Okay, well, look, all of those sound fine to me. When this actually goes to OCM, don't you have to tell them what the name of it is, and don't you have to show them what the signs are going to be and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, this is part of the process in which we're doing all that. We are filing for a DBA. This is, you haven't formally approved us. We don't want to sort of, count the chickens before they hatch. But that's all in process.
But they have to approve your name and they have to approve your signs.
So
Is that all right?
prior to operation, you're 100% correct. The Office of Council Management will have to do a walkthrough, whether it's virtual or in person, and review all our signage before we have permission from OCM to operate. We haven't even started renovations yet. We haven't signed the lease yet. This is part of the notification process, in order to seek full licensure.
So, I mean, I think the signage that you have at 73rd Street is totally fine. I wouldn't have any problem with another establishment that had similar signage. But my concern is it just feels like we're getting this sort of prematurely because basically what OCM, like, there's stuff that you're going to have to know to give to OCM that we're not seeing. And I think part of this process, frankly, is for the community to, there's a whole reason why, in contrast to liquor applications, there are all these rules around signage and the OCM approves it all and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, that is a part of the process. And I think that's part of what we're supposed to do also and what we're entitled to see in the course of looking at this stuff. So as I said, I mean, I think the names that you've given us, any of those would be fine. Signage similar to what you've got at 73rd Street would be fine, but we don't have it yet. And it's something that you're going to have to go to OCM. I mean, I guess
100%. Yeah. We have a 45 in order to get just to let you in full transparency. This was originally, we went before Community Board 1 in Queens or received permission to operate there at 21, 47, 44th Street. But because of structural issues, it was above a subway line, making the necessary structural refurbishments was unfeasible. So a lot of money was spent in terms of design and sort of developing our brand there. But then it ended up working. We have a duty to notify the community board at least 45 days prior to getting final licensure here. So, we would definitely want to make sure that we satisfy this piece of the process while we also eventually even execute, the lease and also do some construction as well.
So what's the timing in terms of getting the approval for those things like signage and name from OCM?
Yeah, so just notifying you guys, set off the 45-day clock. We also are waiting for a CCB sort of ratification that we could relocate to this address, and obviously your community board opinion would be certainly valued there. But we really envision 3 to 4 months before it could really open doors, and certainly there'd be a phase both with submission that we have necessary security, the sort of the locked vault, the safe, the security cameras, as well as the security monitoring company in order even to receive the secondary OCM compliance walkthrough. So really far away, yes, OCM needs to review many plans themselves and also vet our signage before we could commence operations, which should be about 3 to 4 months away.
Okay, so I'm sorry for all the questions here, but I guess my question is like, does OCM issue the license before they see the signs and all that stuff? Because what I'm really trying to get at, Lindsay, is just the question of like what our timing on this needs to be. And like, if there's an aspect of this that like OCM isn't even going to look at yet, then,
it's a unique situation.
For us to do it now.
This is a unique situation. We received a license, full license, but then since we want to relocate, we'll then be relegated to what's called a provisional license. The provisional license will allow us to build, seek, community board support, install the necessary security framework in order to then seek further review for a full operating license.
But you don't come back to us in between those two, or you do?
No, I don't.
So that's,
I
don't
do
know
sort of sympathize with Russell's challenge here, though, that like we're responsible for like upholding what we want our community to look like, and it's very hard to do that without imagery or sort of understanding about what this street would look like with this business on it.
Okay, I mean, just when I applied last time, nothing was built out either. It was a vacant building, and sort of what I did submit were also sketches and designs as well.
We did have sketches and designs. That doesn't seem to be what we have here at all, though.
Yeah, I think, hopefully it may not be sort of sufficient to your standards, but I can submit supplemental logo designs replicating 89th Street instead of 73rd.
I think that probably sounds like something that's reasonable to do before we consider this at the full board, because it would be hard to move with an approval, I imagine, without that sort of information. But in the interest of time, let's go to Marco and then Robin and see if they have something else. Russell, are you satisfied with your?
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, when you came the first time, you are the first applicant for this kind of business, and one of the argument was people that love to use this medical or whatever you want to call, and they don't want to go to 14th Street. Now we are in the neighborhood at 73rd. Now we are a little bit higher. I think it's too much, honestly. Not only in your business, all of them is too much for the neighborhood. Again, some fellow community that apparently doesn't understand that it's a residential district. This is not a commercial district. It's just only the first floor is commercial, and that is extremely important. And finally, I'm gonna say no to your application. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Robin.
Thanks, Lindsay. So I don't want to mispronounce your name at all.
Way. Sorry, that's Way.
Oh, I was going to say Mr. Hugh.
No, thank you. Thank you too.
Okay. So Way, how many cannabis organizations are you involved in all the boroughs here?
This is going to be my second one within the city. I've also helped another South Asian immigrant family successfully launch another one upstate in Orange County as well. So this would be the third adventure that I partake in.
Okay, did I hear you mention Queens about 4 minutes ago?
No, Orange County. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, are you aware, just to piggyback on what Marco said, so you're on East 73rd. We have something on 83rd and Lex. Then we have 86 and Lex. Then we have Lexington coming up to where you want to open, Lexington and 93rd. We have somebody else on First Avenue in the 90s. I know you checked the 1,000 feet requirement. You mentioned that at the very beginning. My sense is that there are just way too many of these places all crammed into a very, very tight radius in our neighborhood. And I frankly just don't see the necessity for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion on this question?
I mean, I'm still curious. About the timing of it because, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, to me,
John, can you give us a little more clarity here to Russell's question?
This is in reference to the timing of when it's operation.
Oh, the 45
the timing of when
day,
we have to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do we have the option to lay this over for another month?
We do. I believe we do. I wish to extend it then, but it'd be laid over, I believe, in that process. I think Will is here if he has maybe more clarification on that. But from my knowledge, we can lay it over.
So Wei, I actually think that that's probably your best move here because just reading the room, it feels like you're going to get a disapproval and then have a decently non-receptive full board. So if you are willing to lay this over, come back next month with the drawings in a way that we can have a better assessment. My guess is that's the best move here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I sort of so thank you for your being candid and sort of sharing your thoughts. But it really is just two numbers. It's 8-9 instead of 7-3. That's really the logo. Just as you see the photos I submitted, what you see is like window frosting. I mean, that'll be sort of the exact same appearance as it would operate with an 8-9 logo, if at all, there. Other than that, it would just have the address of a location and sort of the words identifying it as an adult use dispensary. So I think that, respectfully, I think I did present sufficient sort of imagery of the exterior so that it would sort of not sort of attract any minors, and it would sort of really deter any minors from coming in, as long as the fact, in addition, that we have signage that it only, as required by state regulation, we must have a sign saying only those 21 and older can enter. I've referenced my prior, the other dispensary operated, only because I feel like it's been a successful model and provided ample access to local customers and residents. We operated very responsibly, and we will do so, with new management that will do so in this address. Thus far, just in full transparency, you guys could requested a 30-day extension, if you want. But the state has only been basing its determinations on whether or not to approve full licensure on the distance requirements, which, I am fully, 1,000 feet away from any other dispensary. The reason why, to address sort of other concerns that when there's sort of, lack of access to legal licensed cannabis, that is where illicit and sort of illegal cannabis sort of, is trafficked. So, that's my only, larger, statement to the prior commenters.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to Russell.
Okay, I had the impression that you weren't sure yet what your name of the thing was going to be. If you're willing to state to
Carnegie Hill Cannabis Co. Sorry, Carnegie Hill Cannabis.
So if you will stipulate to us that it's going to be called the Carnegie Hill Cannabis Company, and there will be an 89 number in place of the 73, and the signage is otherwise identical to the signage that you have at 73rd that's included in your application in terms of the colors and all that other stuff, then I personally do consider that to be sufficient in terms of specifics. I just didn't want to pin you down on that because it sounded like you guys weren't sure that you knew what you wanted the sign to be.
Oh no, my apologies for relaying that. It's just sort of not trying to count the chickens before they hatch. We did spend considerable time and energy in developing one model, which didn't come to fruition. So sort of now
that's why I don't want to make you now.
We're 100%
something unless you're sure about it. If you're sure about it and you will stipulate it, which means you cannot change it.
To it. Yeah.
Then that I'm satisfied, and from my perspective, I would approve it. But I just, I don't want to pin you down on that or force you to commit to that if you're not sure about it.
No, I appreciate your opportunity. Now we commit to that, and I will stipulate to that.
Okay, I'm writing this down right now. If that is a stipulation that's possible and we agree to it, which it sounds like we do, would someone like to make a motion that reflects that?
I'm going to lower my hand and raise it again because
sounds good.
Run foul of any issues.
All right, Russell.
I so moved.
Okay. Would anyone like to call a question on this? Come on, you people. Yes, Marco's calling the question. I'm seconding it. So this is a motion to approve with a stipulation that this applicant agrees to the name Carnegie Hill Cannabis with signage that will just reflect the numbers 89 and with imagery that mirrors that of Lenox Hill Cannabis.
I mean, technically, it's the same signage for Lenox Hill Cannabis Company, except Carnegie Hill instead of Lenox Hill, right? That's part of the.
Yeah. If there is anyone who's going to be voting no, let me know. Right now we have, okay, I'm going to be a no, Robin is going to be a no, and Marco Tamayo is going to be a no. So that is going to be a 4-3, hold on one second. Nope, that's going to be a 3-3. Nope, that's going to be a 4. Sorry, everyone.
4-3 vote. Sorry.
I'm sorry, John, if you've got it, please be my
4 for approve, 3 for disapprove.
Thank you. Because we have TJ Stein on that one as well. Okay. All right. Todd, did you want to say something?
I disapprove.
Okay, so this is a 3-4 disapproval. This will go to the full board 2 Wednesdays from now. That's how that stands then.
There's always someone to choose me,
So,
you know?
with that, we are through this part of our program. And now we're gonna move into old business, of which we have none. Marco, you said you have some new business. Happy to hear it.
Thank you. The issue right here is parliament procedure. And I don't like to elaborate more for two reasons. One, I would like to see the report to the nation, to the president. And second, I think the chair already scheduled for a training on parliament procedure to everybody. The only thing I'm going to say, I'm going to end it.
Can you tell us though that what it is that happened tonight? I imagine it's something.
No, look, the bottom line, one major point is the chair must be impartial at all times. So
Okay.
you cannot go against the application. You cannot go in favor of the application. So that's it. But I think with the training, I think it will be better because clearly that's the role of the
I
coach.
don't know. I took that training like 2 months ago. I don't know that that's actually spelled out there, but
Oh
fine.
yeah, because you have to be impartial at all times. You handle the agenda, and you cannot go against the applicant. You cannot go in favor of the applicant, and you allow that the debate is happening. If the debate is happening, I would like to hear some new fellow community members to their opinions because so far it's just only I see it yes or not. Approval or disapproval, but I would like to hear their opinion. It's very important for me to hear from them. Thank you.
Okay, Brian.
Simply put, from having been a lawyer for a very long time, serving on now 4 boards and counsel another, it's not accurate. And with that, that's all I have. Yeah, it's not accurate, Marco, but thank you.
I'll just say I took the training like 4 months ago for the second time and they don't say this. I'm happy to like go revisit this question. But I also don't much care in the way that this meeting happened tonight. If like no one's making a motion, I'm going to do this stuff. Like we're going to do it.
Well, it has been. I has been 18 years in the community board. I has been several trainings with the board of president, and it has been many meetings that we has been discussing this issue.
No,
And by the way,
I go back and chat with our. I'll be happy
okay.
to
By
go
the way, this name, Robert Rule Parliament Procedure, I never hear in my life. Just only when I joined the community board, then I understand. And little by little, I learned, and I understand how important it is in order to handle the meetings. And all attorneys knows very well that part. And I don't want to take your time. I think. Thank you so much.
Well, Marco,
I
it's
think
also
there's a-
something where Robert Rules is not a dictated set of rules for every body. Everything has bylaws. I'm the parliamentarian for the university that I work at, and we've adapted it in different ways. It's not clear that Community Board 8 has these sort of prescriptions that you're saying, at least in the trainings that I've taken, but I'm so happy to go learn more about it. Like I'm totally down to do that.
I mean, sorry, just to my own 2 cents. First of all, I think there's extensive precedent for chairs having broad discretion to run the meeting and also to just take actions to move the meeting forward and to move the agenda.
Right.
My perspective, I don't think Lindsay did anything in this meeting that was non-neutral in any way, apart from seconding some motions or whatever, which was like the necessary next step procedurally in the process. I don't put that as some sort of like thumb on the scale or whatever, you think. So to me, the meeting was run, neutrally and certainly consistent with our past practice. I think we tend to be a little less formal in these committees.
Well,
Okay, hooray.
thank
I
you.
feel like we can make one more motion and
Motion to adjourn.
that sounds great. I would love it if everyone